All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. You've all been patient, and we're going to reward you now with the second game of the day. It's going to be Disrupt Gaming against Soniqs, and both of these teams, I mean, they've been hot so far, especially Stage 1. We've seen their rise in the rankings. But before we get into that talk, I want to take a second to give a shout out to a company that's been helping me out so far, Predator. We've received our laptops some time ago, and I'm gonna let you know now, I'll put it to good use. You see my notes, you see everything I've been prepping for. This bad boy has an i7, and it has a 2080 overclock, and Jesse's is just cracked out at the moment. It's on steroids. Jesse, what do you got?
I got the Helios 700, I do believe, and it's a beast. You know, it plays Siege like a dream. It plays my spreadsheet
Wait, time out. Jacob, that's not a laptop, man. What is that?
No, this is a sandwich.
Are you eating?
It's tomato, mayo, cucumber slices, lettuce, guacamole. But this is not nearly as cool as your laptop, so keep talking.
All right, Jesse, finish
No, I can't.
Wait, you mean you guys got laptops?
Dang. Jacob, we love you, man. But let's get into the nitty-gritty about this matchup. I'm really excited. So Soniqs, it's fair to say in Stage 1, we saw a level of progression that was amazing. They have the rookie Iconic. This team has been absolutely special. But when Stage 2 came around, they weren't looking like that top 4 team. Me and rest of the members of the community were saying Iconic has been showing up, Slebin and Gonfear starting to warm up, but easily has been a bright spot for this roster. But Jesse, the last time we saw them, they faced off against Disrupt, and what happened?
Well, I think the big thing against Disrupt is they played their defenses, I think, better than they have been so far in Stage 2. You know, they really did take those defenses to DG. All throughout the map, it seemed like they knew where Disrupt were going to enter from. They knew about what Disrupt were going to be doing most of the time, particularly like on Cafe. And so they were able to like keep constant pressure on DG throughout the round. Not too much pressure. They weren't throwing their lives away. They weren't getting in life or death gunfights at 30 seconds into the round. But they were just keeping that pressure on. And everything they did on defense had a purpose. That's not something that we've always seen from Soniqs. They've had the worst defensive win rate of Stage 2. They didn't find a lot of success on defenses. They've really struggled in that area. But it was getting better against DG. And they know it's a problem. They know they're working on it. I talked to Joe, their coach, and he talked to me about how they're focusing really hard on getting that defensive win rate up. So it's good to see against Disrupt the first time. They've had even more time since then. I hope we see a continued improvement on their defensive halves.
Just a reminder, continued improvement would mean such a better team, because this was the roster that almost beat Dark Zero on Consulate to make it an NA Major back in August. But yeah, they got to win that. But Jacob, Iconic, the rookie runner for Rookie of the Year, right? One of the finalists. Him, MJR, and Kansan have been lights out. They've been standouts. You love this player, man. What about him is it that you really like?
I mean, so far, the thing he's had that no one else really has, comparative to the other rookies that we've seen in Stage 1, you specifically brought up NJR and Kansan, Iconic can be way more explosive. There is the potential for him to go so much higher than where he currently is, and he's already doing really well. In Stage 1, there were so many instances where he was putting the Soniqs basically in his backpack and trying to carry them as high as he could. Yeah. That's not quite been the same case in Stage 2. The Soniqs' performance overall has kind of slightly tapered off. I think ever since they lost that match to Dark Zero at the back end of the August qualifier, the only problem that really stemmed from that was they couldn't find a way to get back into their groove, and Iconic was one of the players that was kind of hit by that. So I'll hype Iconic up to the ends of the earth because of what he can do. What he's produced so far shows me he is nowhere close to being the full player that he can be, but at least for right now, I just don't know where the Soniqs necessarily line up. I know.
All right, so we actually have stats from the last time these two teams met up, and Iconic was one of the players that was highlighted. Jesse, you and I, man, we've gone back and forth talking about who the real Rookie of the Year is. And when the stats come up, I want you to tell me about just Iconic, what he brings to the Sonic roster that wasn't there before. We've seen different iterations, different members come in and out, but Iconic has been doing well. And then after that, I'm going to talk about Shuttle and the rest of Disrupt Gaming.
All right, yeah, I mean, focusing on Iconic first, again, I think he's got maybe the best aim inside of the NAL. He's got fantastic mechanics, and the Soniqs utilize him really well. They understand that, you know, him and the rest of the team as well have that really huge mechanical advantage over a lot of other teams. So they let him run free. And Iconic, you know, sometimes he makes poor mistakes. Sometimes I think he does get caught out of position. You know, I talked about doing things on defense without a lot of purpose. I think sometimes he gets caught maybe without the rest of his team. But overall, he's been a fantastic player for SQ. His gun skill has been fantastic, you know, robbed of a couple of kills, but otherwise, I think he's played really, really well so far for SQ.
All right, now you see Shuttle on the left side of your screen. Jacob, this is the hype piece. What happened to Shuttle for him to act up this way? Because this is not the Shuttle we were used to seeing at the beginning of the season, but kind of like what we saw when he was on Rogue.
It was really, really good to see Shuttle get back to his old self over the past couple of weeks, and I wonder how much of that has been because Disrupt have made that roster change. They no longer have Nyx on the team, but Shuttle, as a result of that, has now become, I believe, the oldest or the longest tenured player of anyone on that DG squad. He's the veteran. Everyone else is relatively young, aside from Retro, with not a whole bunch of experience at a T1 competitive level, and he has been lights out. He's tied for first place with 6 1vx clutches through the entirety of Stage 2, and also has the most kills for Disrupt at 132 total, again, through that whole stage. And even though he and the rest of Disrupt weren't able to pull out a victory over the Sonics in the previous series that we just showed stats for, I don't think there's been an example of anyone putting a team on their back more firmly than what Shuttle's been doing with Disrupt the past few weeks.
All right, Jesse, listen, the map veto is going to be coming up soon. When it comes to Disrupt Gaming as a whole, you and I were hard on players like Shuttle and everyone else on this roster because NJR, let's be honest, he carried in Stage 1. But now when it comes to this matchup right here with Disrupt Gaming, what do you think they have to do to improve and knock out Sonics from the winner's bracket so they can face Space Station next?
You know, I talked about Sonic's defenses a lot. I'm going to do the same thing for DG. Their defenses have also been really lackluster. They have the second worst defenses of Stage 2. So we've got sort of the battle of the bad defenses here in our, you know, opening matchup.
It's pretty evenly balanced, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I think that, you know, their defenses, while they're both bad, they're differently bad. Sonics seem a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too ahead of themselves sometimes. Disrupt play way too passive on a lot of their defenses. You know, they're just not going for opportunities. They're playing a little bit too together. They're not making things happen. They're just so slow of a team. And I think that they're also aware of that. They're also trying to work on it, and I want to see that happening. But for me, this matchup is really going to be a test of who's improved their defenses more, who's kind of come more to this like middle ground, which is really where the strong defensive teams strive.
All right, so Jacob, before we get to the map vetoes, because they're finalizing right at this moment, right? You take a look at both of these teams. They both made team changes. You know, Sonics, you know, way longer ago than Disrupt Gaming, but they seem to be getting better. But Sonics, they seem to be kind of in a slump. Which team, at the end of the day, do you want to see just stand out the most? Not that you want to win, but improve from this game on.
See, the thing I always fall back on is if a team has had a lot of longevity with one specific roster and they've decided to not swap that many players in and out, then I want to see them do well. That's something that's been a cross-region thing. Remember a legacy like FaZe Clan sticking with the exact 5 same players the entire time for a very, very long stretch and not making any deviation from that? The Sonics are already beginning to enter that territory. And Disrupt, I would argue they're still kind of in a honeymoon phase. They're trying to figure out whether J9O on that team as opposed to Nyx is going to work out in the long term, but the Sonics already have a tried and true regimen. They've had all 5 players on the squad for a lot longer, so if only because of that stat, I do want to see them succeed because they've proven that there is a formula to the way that they work.
All right, so the map vetoes are currently in. They're going to pop up on your screen any moment now. And Jesse, this is your area of expertise. How do you think this series is going to go down?
Well, I'm excited to see what happens. We get Coastline again, this time picked by the Sonics. They had a really strong Stage 1 here. They did lose it pretty early on in Stage 2 and haven't played it since, and they got kind of crushed. But it's not a great map for DG either. Their only win was a 7-5 against United, which is not a huge positive record. Then we go to Clubhouse. This was chosen by Disrupt. They've been good here for sure, but they have kind of been avoiding those top 4 teams on this map. Sonics have 3 plays in the North American League, 2 really crushing losses, and then an 8-7 win. So not a strong map for SQ. I think both of those maps favor the teams that they were picked by pretty heavily. And then Cafe. Everybody bans Cafe against Sonics. They haven't played it a ton. They've looked pretty good on it, but a lot of teams ban this map. DG have not been strong here so far. Their only wins has been in Stage 1 against Tempo Storm, which, again, not a strong record. I don't love that third map for Disrupt.
All right, so prediction time. Jacob, you're known as the Jinx, and with that in mind, I'm going to give this moment to you. Who are you picking to win this game?
First of all, we got to make sure we get our branding correct, Veli. If you're the Jinx, I'm the guy who curses people. It's the Caliber curse, not the Caliber Jinx. We need to get this on par, or I can't sell t-shirts with this on it, man. I got to think about my future prospects here. Anyway, this one's a lot more down to the wire. If you could quite literally flip a coin, I think, and one side or the other, and it could definitely still be correct. But in my opinion, if you really, really want to know, DG might still be in that honeymoon phase with J90.
Okay.
Because the Sonics won their previous matchup. One sec. SQ takes it.
SQ takes it. All right, the Caliber curse is in effect. Jesse, big-brained. Who's going to win this matchup and tell me why? You see, the game is going to start in about 2 minutes, so let's make it fast.
Listen, Disrupt said one thing to me, and this is the biggest important thing they said. They said, don't sleep on Disrupt, okay? And I get that. I really do. And I think it's an important point, but I did wake up pretty early this morning.
Oh, no.
And that first map was exhausting. I'm going to take a quick nap. I'll vote for Sonics. Let me know how it goes after this is over.
I got you,
2-0.
Jesse. All right, so shout out to the analysts for those predictions. This is going to be a banger for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to ask you for a favor one more time. Make sure you follow Rainbow Six on our socials. You're not just doing me a favor, you're doing one for yourself. Make sure you stay in tune with everything that's happening in the Rainbow Six esports world, okay? I promise you, you will not be upset if you do go ahead and follow those pages. But coming up next, we're going to have Sonics versus Disrupt Gaming. We're going to have Kicks and Parker once again, so fellas, take it away.
It's time for our second matchup of the day, Disrupt versus the Sonics. One of these teams will square off against Space Station, and one of them will square off against Mirage. This is going to be an interesting one. A lot of people that watch this league, a lot of analysts, a lot of would-be commentators would argue that there isn't much light between these two squads, Michael. So this should be a matchup that goes to all three maps if both teams show up and play at the potential that they know and we know they're capable of.
I think odds have the sort of rough you expect, give back a little, that the to disrupt boon. I think that's going, it hasn't yet.
Now, I'm being told that apparently your mic keeps cutting in and out, Michael. So I don't know if they are capable of hearing you.
Right.
But we are just waiting on one small swap, by the way. Retro and Super apparently on the wrong team. No Super, you do not get to join Disrupt. You have to play on the Sonics. Even if your team doesn't want you to, even if your team wants Retro, who knows? They're swapped up, they're ready. And we're almost ready to get in on this action. I don't know what's going on your end, Kicks. Technical difficulties do happen from time to time.
I mean, I haven't no idea what it could be. Assuming now? I mean, I expect certainly closer. And a pretty hot con.
You are still cutting out, apparently. So you can mime if you'd like. You can make obscene or less obscene hand. There you go. Okay. Very good. It's oh God, what happened to your thumb? He broke it. It's gone. It's missing. Anyway, we are moments out from getting underway. We're going to be starting on the same map that we started our Mirage Space Station journey on. Coastline. Michael, nice watch. Would you like to show the people your watch? He does not want to show people that he's just checking the time. And, well, it's time to get into the game. 3:14 p.m. It is pi o'clock right now, and we're not going to hold you at all from Coastline. So there it is, middle of your screen, enlarging. Let's get in on the fun. If you could join me with a good luck, have fun in the chat, as we are going to make hopefully commonplace. Teams are going to start with the bans, and well, it's the same operator, the same hard breacher who was removed from the space station Mirage Fracas. Goodbye to Ace. Ace and Hibana tend to be the two hard breachers that we see employed on this map, if they don't go unbanned, of course. So expect to see Hibana brought probably most rounds. Buck will join Ace. And we'll wait for the defender bans here. Very popular defender bans on a map like Coastline tend to be Wamai, Mira, Echo when he was unbanned. Maestro is another one. Valk is also in play. So do look to see who gets removed. Valk will be the last operator banned out. So say goodbye to Valkyrie. No Evil Eyes. No Black Eyes. Neither of them allowed in play. That is a major blow to the defense. They instead will go, I'm assuming, for pure utility soak here, as intel is going to be off the board. Other than bulletproof cameras and just gadgets that make noise, such as proximity alarms, the Banshees from Malusi, those, of course, will aid the defense and have greater information, but ultimately Valk and Maestro are two of the strongest operators in that regard. Valk, of course, can bring either a deployable shield or a nitro cell. Great flexibility there. And then Maestro is as Maestro does with that Alta in hand. Hookah will be the very first defense, and I believe Kickstar has made his triumphant return.
Yeah, so I don't know what the issue was, but wasn't on my end at least. Woo! Just had to do a little restart, I guess, and problem should be solved. Hopefully it stays solved. We'll see. Sonic setting up for a hookah defense, as you mentioned. I want to check the reinforcements there, because I thought I saw a weird one in the B bomb site, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out, I guess, as the round plays out. I cannot tell from this bit rate. Set up downstairs, bandit batteries on the standard wall. And yeah, they reinforced the far left wall inside of B instead of the middle one, which is very different. In fact, that is startlingly different than normal. We'll see if that gives Sonic some kind of advantage in the angle play on site.
We will see, and we will take a look. The Sonics are going to roam over by Theater and Penthouse. Deployable shield set up. This, I refer to it often as a super highway, where you can get back as quickly as you want, and that rotation that's been created from Sleben behind him will allow him to drop either to the main lobby or flee through luggage. Though with this being a hookah and billiards defense from the Sonics, you have to expect somebody from Disrupt to be playing on that skylight, which means that rotating through luggage might be your own undoing. That's where Retro's positioned right now, diffuser in hand, and he's going to have a nice line of sight on 90, as well as over by luggage. Grenade ready, and it'll get tossed on in. I don't know if it got the gadget they were looking to claim. I believe that was a bandit battery on the wall, and it does look like they were able to get it, which means that this wall should be able to get opened up now if there's a Hibana, Reed's hands, interested in getting over in that position. The man that was talked up by the analysts, who has become one of the best performing players in all of the NA League, Shuttle, will start off this matchup. He punishes Super. And now Shuttle is still waiting for another opportunity. It would come in the hands of Gomfy. Slevin finds a kill onto J90. Both of these teams back at an even 4v4. And we're halfway through this first round.
Ooh, this could be juicy for NJR if he plays the angle right. The information is being fed to him by these drones, and down goes Gomfy, but it's to Shuttle. He picks up his second kill of the round. The roam is still there, but it's being taken out one by one by Disrupt. Good drone work there. Sleben spotted out as he tries to push Hall of Fame, and he'll fall back. He'll drop likely. But there is a player in the main lobby. That's Shuttle. He's actually trying to ascend the staircase, though, so the cutoff might be lost. Easily will get NJR, so a little bit of bite back here from Sonics, and Sleben will lodge himself in the bathroom, knowing that there's nobody above him currently to pressure him from the drop. Shuttle's trying to remedy that by going above, and there is a cutoff for Reed. They seem to know there's a player in the bathroom. Here comes the sledge. The Habana opening the wall, and there's the kill. Reed will get Sleben as he tries to retreat. There's nowhere left for him to run to, but look at the time. Mission accomplished for Sleben. Time wasted. 20 seconds for these last attackers to get to the site, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Easily with 3 smokes in hand, should be able to delay this by himself, and he's got Iconic to assist, playing over by Vase. As the time starts to die here for the attack, an aggressive play from Iconic, not netting the kill, amazingly, and Retro is planting the diffuser. Shuttle will get 1. That's easily. Smoke down. It's all on Iconic. He'll get his second, though, on this retake. He might even be able to win it in the 1v1. Shuttle has been big in this round with 3 kills, and that's what Iconic's going to need in order to win this. He fakes it out, gets off the stick, and swings, but loses the fight. Shuttle's just better. A 4K for him, and Disrupt take round number 1.
There were a lot of questions that, wait, hold on a second here. Is Shuttle wearing sunglasses indoors?
What? Can we get an Insta replay of that?
I'd like an Insta replay of Shuttle here, please. If we can do that. I think he was wearing He is!
Oh, no.
He's so cool. He's too cool for us. Look at that.
A 4K with sunglasses.
A 4K.
What a man.
Unbelievable.
Oh, boy.
The majesticness of Shuttle.
The majesty.
The majesty indeed.
Mm-hmm.
There was a leadership void on this team that many people discussed when Nyx stepped off of the roster, and it was a questionable decision at the time. Nyx was statistically the second best performer on Disrupt after NJR, and NJR had a great stage 1. He came in as a rookie, and he was explosive in a lot of games. It was a term that was used to describe Iconic on the analyst desk, explosive. I think NJR was capable of that as well. Now, NJR has regressed in this second stage to a certain extent, but the good news for Disrupt is that Shuttle has filled that void. What Shuttle also brings to the team is just experience and maturity. I don't know what leadership he brings to the team because I haven't really studied Disrupt's leadership structure, or whether it's simply a joint effort, as Retro is also quite experienced. He's been around the block quite a lot. But Shuttle has played on so many teams. He has played on teams where he has been overshadowed by players such as Skies, by players such as Laxing. The problem for Shuttle is that he's a quiet guy. He's quiet on social media, doesn't really stream, doesn't really do content creation, doesn't really do interviews, doesn't talk an awful lot, but he lets his talking in this stage all happen in the server, and he has statistically been one of the best performers in the US division and the entire NA league so far. For Disrupt, Shuttle has covered up for a lot of what people assumed would be deficits after Nyx left, and it has boded well for Disrupt in their matches and has allowed them to keep tight with good opposition.
I think the best descriptor of Shuttle is consummate professional. And well, he's been doing his job well so far through this map. We haven't seen enough of the road to really say what that will mean. Soniqs still had a good round there. They brought it down to the 1v1. And here in this round, they're doing a great job of delay. The vault in, though, from NJR will get easily and Iconic. Big round from NJR. He just, like that, has site control. And now the defenders who are playing above will need to retake their own site, but it'll be successful. So a 3v3 as Battle Eyes starts to add to the kill feed itself.
Goodness gracious, what a showing. Get rid of all that garbage. I love when the trash takes itself out, Michael.
I love it too.
Well, regardless, it's a good thing that the action preceded that wave because we would have lost it. What a shot from Super. He was silenced as the very first death in round number 1, but he's making this round count with 2 so far, leaving Retro and J90. J90, of course, a former member of the Soniqs, albeit briefly while they were awaiting both Gomfi and Sleben. Sleben, who just got defeated by J90, a bit poetic if I do say so myself.
It is.
He was snatched up by Disrupt and has been a pleasant addition to this team. So good news for both of these teams when all this action happens is that you've still got time to correct all of this. If you're on attack, you can re-drone, you can plot your advance. If you've still got utility left, you can put it to good use. 1 grenade for Retro, 2 flashes for J90. That's what you're looking at. And both members of DG are going to enter from separate areas. Super gets baited, and it's Gomfi now to try and retake the site as his team has lost control. He can't out-battle J90, though. A huge round from the former Soniqs fill-in. Disrupt is up 2-0.
Yeah, I said I thought that J90 would be a difference maker. I stand by that. I think that he's really got the raw talent, and I think between him and NJR, Disrupt is a team that is stronger now than they ever have been. That's how I feel about this current roster. There's a lot of strength on Disrupt's current lineup, and there's a lot of opportunity seizing prowess, if that makes sense. For example, NJR, what did he do that round? How did he gain the early man advantage? He impacted the kitchen window and vaulted in. He took 2 fights and won both of them. Now, is that a sensible move? No. Is that what most would call smart? No. Is that the sort of play that many pros might ridicule? Yeah. But, and I would too, but at the same time, NJR lands those shots. He wins those. And in the end, that's usually all that matters. If you're landing the shot, you can do brazen plays like that. Because you're going to get away with it because you hit the headshot, because that's, yeah, there you go. Problem solved. Mission accomplished. And yeah, we saw Soniqs bounce back from that early advantage that DG gained because DG got maybe a little bit overzealous in trying to force that control in the site after those 2 entry kills came out. But DG still won the round in the end. And once again, we return to that's all that matters.
Site rotation now for SQ has been Hookah, Kitchen, Hookah. Penthouse Theater will be an unlikely bomb site that we see that just leaves the double bars. And some teams do like defending that bomb site. SSG is a team that doesn't always go there reluctantly. We just saw them play against Mirage. They defended it twice. That was also because they went perfect in the games. They had no choice. The thing with Penthouse Theater is you still defend it. You just don't have a bomb site in there. The Soniqs defended it in round number 1, and they have a similar setup this time, as it was Gomfi and Sleben in this position before. The only difference was that Gomfi was playing the Bandit instead of the Kaid. And because that Bandit battery got destroyed on the wall of VIP, it might be a little bit trickier to take care of it if there's an Electric Claw in play. The first death on the Hookah defense for Soniqs in round 1 was Super, and he very nearly ends up with that same title this time. 50 HP allows him to get away as he was worried about getting picked off inside of luggage. Gomfi pressured over by 90 as DG just inch closer and closer to being able to pull off something on this bomb site, but DG are taking their time. A grenade goes off in the same spot that it was tossed to before on the panel in a VIP, but the Electric Claw is not taken out. NJR seemed to want to fight inside of Bathroom over by Penthouse, and he meets his fate at the hands of Gomfi, gunned down by the AUG. Super spotted down below. Shuttle poised to strike with just about half the round to go.
This has been a great roam for the Soniqs. They adjusted well, bringing the Kaid instead of the Bandit. And that adjustment has allowed the same coverage, but the nade wasn't able to destroy the Kaid this time around, and the wall not opened up. NJR dies on that VIP push. It's all just going the way of Soniqs so far. With the roam unwavering, the attack will shift their focus to the site. This is dangerous because, as you can see, they're being flanked now. The roamers, while not addressed, are still capable of picking up frags, and it looks like it might even be a flawless round. But no, Reed will get one. At least it's not going to be flawless. They can save some dignity, but it looks like Soniqs are taking their first round here. Reed will ascend to the roof, and he can either just wait out these last 3 seconds and give his team some time to ponder the future rounds, or make a half-hearted attempt at a clutch. The serious potential here for a clutch is almost nil. He'll drop, Sleben will shut him down, and the Soniqs take their first round.
A mere formality, young Skywalker.
Is that what that's from?
No, I don't think that is.
Yeah, I feel like you mixed two references there, but I don't remember.
Well, no, it's not a reference at all.
Are you just saying it like you're Palpatine?
I'm just saying it like
Are you the Senate, Parker?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be the Senate. I can be whatever I want, Michael.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's a safe bet as a co-caster. I just need to lean on. I can lean on Avengers references, or I can lean on Star Wars references, and I know, without fail, I know you're gonna get them.
I don't know much about Avengers. I have seen the movies, but I don't know.
That's good, Michael. Anyway, that round.
Oh yeah, that round.
That round, SQ established a much better defense. They assessed what was wrong with their very first defense. They lost control of VIP quickly, and when they lost control of VIP, they also got forced out of Penthouse and Theater. They got forced out of 90, and it rendered half of that top floor unplayable, especially given the fact that you had Shuttle playing over on the windows over on the east side of the map. They knew that they had to control VIP more to waste time and utility for Disrupt. So what was the big change they made? They subbed out the Bandit and they instead went with the Kaid. And then Electric Claw was not destroyed by a grenade this time. Means that the grenade that was tossed in from Disrupt was wasted. It also meant that DG would have to be more assertive on that part of the map than they were before. DG might not have calculated that. And you saw the member of Disrupt drop in a bathroom to try and maybe dislodge the defenders playing on that side of the map. They were more than prepped and ready for it with the setup that had been done, which was better than on that first round. It had wider angles, and Soniqs knew how to play off of it from farther back inside of Theater, and they netted the kill with it. And it was Gonfi, actually, that got it, that was playing on 90 as they'd shot out more of the wall so he could play more aggressively in that spot with the AUG. I like that SQ read into that. I like how quickly they were to change that, and it was nearly a flawless round. I mean, you go from losing the round, DG got first blood, they got the diffuser down, and they took the round, and you fix all those mistakes. So kudos to the Soniqs for that. As they're now going to go to Kitchen, and we'll see if they can repeat the success they just had on Hookah by changing a couple things up, and whether it's enough for them to prevail on this bomb site that they've already lost once.
Lots of utility used on the Sunrise bar, but at this point, the Soniqs have already fallen back. Iconic read that he had already gained the advantage in time and made the determination that, oh yeah, I can just leave. He did. He's in the main lobby now. He's going to play that kitchen door from a long angle through those holes that were made in the kitchen wall. Soniqs still have roamers, but they're above. That's Gonfi and Slebin doing a tag team on the top floor. Vigil, not spotted as such, but known quantity in Vase. And the tracers from Shuttle will start flying out. None find their target, though. And he will continue to twist and turn. He'll spot the Vigil, but at that point, of course, the Vigil will rotate because Shuttle was on the drone and instead of someone being on the drone for him. The Gonfi repositions to Cool Vibes, and he's being covered on a long angle from Slebin. The theme of this round is DG spending a lot of time clearing out roamers and not getting the contact that they want. They finally do scathe Gonfi, but only just, and he'll make his way out of the engagement. Still alive and still able to contribute.
DG is just right now treading water. As we saw in the previous round, they did that too. Unfortunately, when they decided the push would come to shove, well, they got shoved. They're waiting to see if the Soniqs will commit any errors. And so far, both Gonfi and Iconic have, but DG have not been successful at stopping them. They've only done some damage. That's allowed SQ to stay upright. There's 20 seconds remaining in this round. That's it. So DG are going to have to burst into the site, and it's going to be absolute pandemonium. Easily covers the main entry point, now looks towards delivery as he knows somebody else is going to come in there, but no! J90 through the doorway. Two members of the Soniqs are down, one from Disrupt, and DG are going to lose out on time here. Diffuser surrendered as it's just absolute pandemonium. Only one member of Soniqs was left alive, and yet they still win the round because the Diffuser falls in Kitchen. Staying power for the Soniqs as they equalize, and we are tied up 2-2.
Ugh. That is rough, but you reap what you sow. DG, as you mentioned, Parker, we're playing a roam clear strategy of wait until the defense makes the mistake, and then in the two opportunities afforded to DG, They failed to get the kill both times. Damage done is something, but when you're running out of time, you really want more than just hurting your opponent. You need to kill him. That's the name of the game. So, unfortunately, Disrupt, not enough lethality in those challenges. Not enough of that sure aim that is necessary to win matches like these. And that equalization coming into play now. I think most of that comes down to just simple time-wasting strategy from the Sonics. It was well done by Iconic, by the Sunrise Bar. It was well done above by Gomfy as well, and as well as Slevin. And as much as the roamers eventually did get cleared out, it felt more like the Sonics roamers were just leaving, and less like Disrupt cleared out the roamers. So kind of like a consolation prize, if you will, and it ultimately resulted in being that prize being too heavy and weighing down the attack as they attempted to hit the site.
There's things for both these teams to fix so far, and Coastline has proven to be a relatively even map for each. Still time for either to take their stamp on this first half, but with how they're both playing, you have to give the nod towards probably a 3-3 split. And this is what we expected heading into this matchup. We knew they would be quite evenly matched, as DG have seemingly improved as a team the more they've been able to settle in. Obviously, they had some major shakeups after Nyx left, with them losing their main leader. And I mean, there's always going to be a change that has to occur, and there will be growing pains as players find their voices. That's it. Additionally, adding somebody like J90, who doesn't really have a ton of experience. He'd played a couple games for the Sonics. That was it. You've still got NJR, who's relatively new as well. So 2 members of your team are acclimating to the highest league in the land, and you're able to keep pace with some pretty decent teams. That's obviously a point of pride here for Disrupt.
It's a nice charm Easley's got there. Really like that
I
one.
mean, it's okay.
Super clean. Like the black and white. Like the, it's a nice little font too.
I will say this, the fact that, I mean, I'm sure you feel it as well. The fact that there are pro players that run our charms is just like, it's just such an honor.
Really is.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I have never had nothing but the utmost respect and appreciation for Easily, and, you know, he and Skies have ran it, and it's a big point of pride for me, so thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sonics setting up their defense here as the attack starts to pressure from above. Mud is in control of not in control of Disrupt, but the other way around, as they are going to try and push through it to get to the site and plant that diffuser on default. Even exchange, the start of this attack, but the control is in the favor of the attack itself. Retro is starting that diffuser plant, and he's going to get it down. There is a retake, though, and it's going to favor Sonics heavily. Great kill there from Retro as he actually gets back into Mud and can get another one for his trouble. NJR now in a 1v1 with Iconic. What a scuffle there in the site, but ultimately the attack on the favor. That's almost an opportunity for Iconic, but he misses the shot, but he won't miss the second, the triple kill and the clutch. A huge round for Iconic, and he will take the Sonics to 3-2.
My. In the words of Caliber Jacob, explosiveness, Michael.
Explosiveness, Parker.
Explosiveness from Iconic as he reads the play well, whether he does it on his own or gets calls from his team. He plays that one perfectly against the Zofia, and it ends up being the undoing of DG. With that, the Sonics have stitched together 3 consecutive rounds and also completed the cycle of hookah, kitchen, and double bars. They'll go back to hookah as it's the only bomb site that's unlocked other than penthouse and theater, and well, I don't think we need to spend more time or more words describing how that bomb site is typically not seen. Even though I do expect for the 3rd defense of this bomb site, we'll see somebody, maybe 1, maybe 2 members of the Sonics go over and play in penthouse theater. That would be my suspicion.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Oh, we'll find out. What a round, though, from Iconic. Explosiveness, I think, is the word. We say it again. Are we allowed to?
Explosiveness.
Yay!
Yay!
I really didn't think he was gonna win on that vault. I thought.
I didn't either.
Yeah. It was a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Rome set up for Soniqs. This has been, I think, a mainstay in the Soniqs defense so far. How the Rome has been delaying these rounds has been quite significant, actually. And Disrupt definitely need to start trying to figure that one out. It seemed like Disrupt had an understanding of what they were confronted with at the beginning of the match, but the adjustment from Soniqs has been so correct, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's been incredibly accurate. Soniqs know what they're dealing with when it comes to Disrupt's attack, and we haven't seen that same caliber of adjustment from Disrupt. I guess that's probably because he's on the analyst desk. Now, maybe we'll see it this round. Maybe we'll see that equal 3-3, and that would be good for Disrupt, considering Coastline is, as we always like to say, that slightly attacker-favored map.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, hopefully Disrupt gets the 3-3. Otherwise, this is going to be a interesting, well, probably a quick series. And, ooh, it's not a great start to this round.
Sleben is really rolling the dice inside of the back of Theater. He doesn't really have much protection at his disposal and hasn't done any damage in the process. Meanwhile, that run out from Iconic does net J9-0, so it ends up being quite successful. And JR getting pings, and will now get the ping onto the Jaeger, and this is a fight that I don't think Sleben wins at all. He is just, right now, he's tempting fate against NJR. Sleben's goal might be to just simply waste time as best as he can, but with Shuttle now falling to Super, who is flying so close to the sun every single time we see a hookah defense, Super is playing extremely loose. One thing it's done is it's forced NJR to have to reposition. He cannot afford, given that there's only 2 other members of his team, he cannot afford to waste as much time as he has. Just like that, though, the snap of a finger, DG have found 2 kills and even things up at 3 apiece. With how low Super and Iconic are, though, this is a very winnable situation for Disrupt. They just have to tussle with the final minute of this round.
With the gas canisters in the pocket of Easily, this is looking very winnable for the defense, but Iconic and Super on low HP does not bode well in gunfights. This is also the most amount of time Disrupt has had to execute in a long time. And there goes your smoke. There goes all your advantages. The sole defender with full HP, the gas canisters, now Super, and the final kill for NJR. Disrupt will end the first half 3-3.
Things fell apart in a hurry there for Disrupt, or for Soniqs rather. Goodness gracious, and Disrupt played that one perfectly. I was worried that NJR was going to get bogged down over by Penthouse as he was trying to battle Sleben to the best of his abilities. Sleben playing in the back of Theater. But while we were distracted there, the rest of Disrupt was not distracted elsewhere. Their focus shifted towards Aqua. Their focus shifted towards pinning down Luggage, VIP. NJR was not just a one-man wrecking crew. The rest of the Soniqs lost their 1v1s off-site, leaving just the mortally wounded Iconic and Super with the full HP of the smoke of Easily. And once Easily fell, you called it. There goes your greatest piece of utility on defense. Your gas canisters, your time waster, a great loadout and a great kit, all gone. The ability to plant the diffuser becomes eminently more viable for Disrupt. But the good news is for them, they didn't even need to. They just bull rushed the site, and after they took a couple isolated gunfights with what little was left of 2 members of Soniqs, they were able to sweep up the round. It does put us right back where we started at a 3-3 scoreline, and you talked about how your worry was if the Soniqs went up 4-2 on defensive Coastline, that it might be an uphill battle for Disrupt for the remainder of this matchup. The good news for Disrupt and their fans is that it is right back at square one. So if there's any ground to be made up, DG could possibly spring out to an even larger lead here than the Soniqs would have had they won that previous round. We'll see, though, as it's a hookah defense. This is the 4th time we've seen this bomb site so far in 7 rounds.
Yeah, it's a popular one. The setup here from Disrupt is a little bit different. Castle being brought and some barricades being placed, but most importantly, that setup inside of Aqua. A little bit little bit new, I guess. The only way you can stay safe in Aqua from below is on top of the drop when it's reinforced. That's exactly where J9O finds himself, and he's got a shield to support this play. He's going to be just trying to stay alive as long as possible and delay the Sonics attack into Aqua if it should ever come. Currently, the Sonics are clearing out underneath. Their focus seems to be on Hookah. Iconic is below, and he's going to drone upstairs to see if he can nade any of his opponents underneath. But Retro is the player holding Hookah, and he sits on a concrete slab. So he should be fine, as long as he doesn't stray too far.
Lion is going to be an important part of the Sonics arsenal right now. It'll be super running that operator every round. I imagine if things start to go sideways, they might make some changes here. The Lion could be sacrificed out for maybe a Doke, could be something else along those lines, but super tends to play those hard support roles. The man of the hour that was talked about on the analyst desk for being a bright spot for the Sonics will start off this very first half. With a kill onto Retro, it's easily netting that one. He's also got the diffuser in his hands, so he's got a big job on his shoulders. Pinning down the defenders as there's some stuns, and well, it takes a little while, but Gonfi finally gets the pick onto Reed, and with it, the back of the bomb site is in the control of the Sonics. But just like that, a counter punch landed from Disrupt. Diffuser goes down, but the numbers at 3-3. Gonfi on low HP. Same with Shuttle and J9O. NJR finished off as Shuttle knows how hard this is going to be for both of them to come back from. A single point of damage will fell them both. And there it is. The Sonics completely clean up after the diffuser goes down. They regain the lead after tying it up, or DG ties it up on the previous round.
So, that execution. Sonics read the defensive setup over by Aqua, the roam afar on the other side of the map. And Sonic said, yep, nah, we're good. Instead, we're just going to clear out underneath in Sunrise, make sure that there's nobody defending in the actual Hookah site, kill the player on Vase, and then execute for a plant. And then there was almost no site presence for DG. Certainly none that could have actually defended Hookah at that point. They can't play from below because that's been effectively and efficiently cleared out by the Sonics. There was no resistance, actually, down in Sunrise Bar for the defense. So that was free real estate. And then on a retake, I mean, I'd say that I have to pay some respect to Disrupt because their retake effect on that Hookah was really good. Yeah, they did way better than I thought they would on the retake, but it wasn't enough. It would have had to. Herculean effort was required, and not expected. So, well done to Sonics. Really, they just read that defense like a book and played around it.
5 seconds to insertion.
Down to kitchen we go. I like the one thing about... Let me start over. The one thing that I like the most about this map is usually we see a lot of diversity and flexibility in the operators. Really hasn't been the case so far, though. It's actually been kind of stale so far as these teams are playing very similar setups, very similar operators. And I mean, from what we just saw between SSG and Mirage, even SSG used different lineups on a variety of different bomb sites and have done so before against their opponents. Ditto with DZ and TSM and OXG when they've played this. The fact that both of these teams are running similar setups and are running similar operators, not identical,
Bomb has been located.
but similar enough, means that to a certain extent, you're kind of prepped and ready for what your opponents are bringing. It's going to come down to some small variations, and oftentimes that makes your job a lot harder because you don't always notice the small rotate, a small rotation that's made, a small hole through the floor, and it can end up being a significant difference maker in the matchup.
Certainly can. I mean, that's a big part of why we see, I guess, some slightly different reinforcements or murder holes made in certain walls when typically you'll see, oh, this is soft but not opened, but this time it's opened and it's also still soft. I don't know. I guess that's part of the character of each team, and it's the sort of thing that you need to be able to adjust for on the fly. I mean, we saw a great example of adjusting strategy to mold to your opponent from SSG in the last match today, And both of these teams have been proving themselves quite adept at doing this very same. Easily gets the lead-off kill, and the control is now strongly in favor of the Sonics, who leap into the site and frag out on these anchors. No one left in the site, and the Sonics have all of their bodies in it as well. J90 above, NJR above as well. The roamers are going to have to come back, but they might be sad to see that all of site is lost. And now in a post-plant, it's looking even worse. NJR gets down on the kitchen door. J90 has no chance really here. He's going to twist and hopefully get a kill or two. But what an assertive play from Sonics to get site control and to maintain it throughout the round.
Jeez Louise, not the result that you want if you're DG. Both rounds on attack, the Sonics have picked up a single kill and then snowballed into the bomb site like an avalanche, just crashing down on the defenders. A first pick happened, and then immediately Ash is in the bomb site. Previous round, exact same thing. First pick happens, there's a second pick on Cool Vibe stairs right as Ash gets into the back of the bomb site. Comfy has been able to make great space on the attack. A lot of it is aided, of course, by the EOD of Lion. And Super doesn't even really need to be that engaged in the action. Lion is not the operator he used to be, but still there are uses for that gadget. It's great for being able to pin down your opponents. It's great for being able to work alongside a single drone. The best counter for it, Mute, not available, not being played at all. He's available, not being used. Vigil, also when his cloak is in use, immune to Lion Scanner, also not being used. So for DG, they have to know, if you have ever watched the Sonics play on Coastline, Lion will be at or near 100% pick rate on the Sonics attacking lineup. And yet DG are not bringing either of the best counters to stop it. And the other thing about those counters is that it's not like Mute or Vigil are out of the norm on a map like Coastline. They both have strong applications and can be used to fit into the meta. Mute has a Nitro Cell, he can play down below. You have Vigil, who's great for roaming. SSG just used Vigil a bunch on this map. DG failing to adapt is going to continue to cost them because these Lion charges from Super have worked out alongside the aggressiveness that the Sonics are bringing.
Speaking of aggressiveness, down goes Slevin and Yuriana. That's unfortunate. He'll get another, not too easily, who slow peeks him around that tarp. And, yeah, the story, NJR, taking fights and winning them. Diffuser down, Sonics will need to retrieve it. They'll also still need to clear out the roamers above. And boy, howdy, does that seem like a daunting task with NJR being that roamer. Lion EE1D will at least make him stand still for a few seconds, but that's not going to matter. Yeah. The defense in Penthouse has worked out pretty well so far for Sonics, and their extension into VIP, while typically not done, is in this atypical example working out great. You could see Sonic scrambling to address it as well. They're now trying to come in from luggage, and they're aware of the Jaegers playing at the top of white. Comfy's going to need to win this fight. He's been droned out. Information relayed. J90 will just continue to scurry around and wait for a confrontation.
There's another Lion charge, and nothing comes of it. DG seemingly just waiting for the storm from the Sonics, if it even materializes. I mean, being into a 3v5 for as long as the Sonics have, they haven't been able to accomplish that much, and their discovery work, for now, hasn't been particularly strong. You can see that both Super and Iconic are out of drones. Gompy has 2 on the board, but who knows where they are and if they're even usable. He's the only one that can pilot them, and, well, he's sitting inside of luggage right now, just waiting. There's a pick from J90. He looks for a second, but he can't net it. There's only one remaining member of Sonics, and it's Iconic upright as the 4 members of DG, as they've lost 1, but that was it, seem to be poised to take this round. I don't know what Iconic is going to be able to do. He doesn't hold that diffuser, or he does hold the diffuser rather, so he's capable of getting the diffuser planted, but no. He's gone. He trades out onto Reed. That's all you need. I didn't deliberately rhyme that. Anyway, DG takes the round.
Well, you did, and it worked out pretty well. Trades that one out onto Reed. That's all you need. It plants the seed of... I don't have any. I don't have any more. I don't have any more, Parker. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we just saw not only a penthouse theater defense, which we had mentioned would be odd,
but a successful
not something
one.
you see all the time, but it works out in favor of the defense. And now through 4 rounds on defense, Disrupt have run through all 4 bomb sites as they're going to go down to the double bars. They are not bringing a Mira. This is a little peculiar for this bomb site because when Mira is available, which she is in this match, she is not one of the 4 operators that are presently banned. She is extremely strong with her Mira window where Retro is right now inside of Pink Bar, Sunrise Bar, watching that A bomb site. And then the other Mira window can go wherever you want. A lot of teams will play her inside a kitchen. Some can play her upstairs. It really depends on how you want to establish the setup. And like I said a couple rounds ago, these teams haven't really shown dramatically different strats on defense. It's been kind of similar as each other.
He gets the trade onto Reed. That's all you need to plant the seed that might be what DG needs to succeed. I don't know, it kind of works.
If this is going to be a repeat of you writing haikus in the middle of the broadcast, I'm just going to quit right now.
I'm not going to do that. But
Because
hey,
I can't handle it, man.
it kind of works. And DG...
I think you did an exemplary job with it, Michael.
Thanks, Parker. Speaking of exemplary jobs, NJR had a great job in the last defense, and well, I think just taking these fights on the roams is what DG has been so good at. They'll lose the first one, though. Shuttle goes down inside of the kitchen. There's the stun and the, well, flashes as well to get control of kitchen door, prevent a rotate and a refrag for DG. As I talk up DG's roam potential, they get obliterated on their roam. And now the Sonics are in firm control of this round. This could be the match point round, but don't count out DG just yet. They still have control of the mud corner. They still have control of the Sunrise Bar. This is very winnable for the defense. It's just going to come down to whether or not Sonics fumble the ball because they are in firm control currently.
The one that's sitting on the default plant spot, Retro, will need to be moved from that post as the Sonics have lots of time to be able to pull this off. They're still doing discovery as they're on drones. They have more at their disposal if they want to. Just one, though, from Sleben. You can see that Iconic, Super, and Gomfy have lost them all. J90 moves from his post and will now ascend Cool Vibe stairs. This roam for Retro works out, or rather the push from Retro, as he's not roaming at all. He's in the bomb site. So SQ decides to take the angle, and they win it eventually. Looking for more as Reed tries to peek onto Iconic. He's holding this post as easily going for the plant, but he peels off for now. Gomfy sneaking up. He'll secure something that couldn't have been finished by Iconic. And onto the cardiac sensor with a minute to go. J90 is put in a spot that is extremely hard for him to get out of. The Sonics going for the plant now halfway down. A successful kill onto Iconic as J90 hits Courtyard, and now he'll have to contend with that timer. Super is prepped and ready for it. It's match point for the Sonics on their map, 6-4.
I like how he just barely doesn't see the pulse drop there. Yeah, 6-4. It looks like Sonics are going to be able to lock this one out. Their control of the roamers there was the key. Mostly, it's just the execution by Kitchen. They didn't just get control of Kitchen. You could see the Sonics were keen on getting lethal control of the roamers. 2 frags for the price of 1 is what I would say over by Kitchen. I think Sonics really just wanted to pinch under Shuttle, but he was peeking the holes and died before the pinch was even necessary. Then the Kitchen control maintained by the stuns on the door, just negating any potential retake. Control is maintained. Sonics don't jump the gun. They play it smart, play it safe, have their advantage, and turn it into a round win. So well done. Sonics very patient, very methodical. Disrupt now. I think the best way we could describe the Disrupt playstyle through this map has been the feast or famine, as you like to say.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to say.
The high risk, high reward gameplay we're seeing from Disrupt because they keep going for those dangerous roams. And these are normal roams, don't get me wrong, but the difference between Disrupt's dangerous roam and some other team maybe, like any other US division team, is that Disrupt on these roams are willingly and aggressively taking the fights. And so, you know, last round was a famine. The round before that, when NJR was winning all his fights in VIP, that was a feast. It's that simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes
Does it make sense? All right. I explained it well.
I think you did.
Thank you, Parker.
You're welcome, Michael. So these teams will get down to business now. Soniqs obviously favoring this map quite a fair bit, and they are confident and in control. 2 rounds for Disrupt to try to narrow this. It's definitely doable. These teams have been more evenly matched than the score suggests, but it's not a given by any stretch of the imagination. Back up to Hookah, as only 1 successful defense for Disrupt does not bode well, but I mean, we've seen teams be able to muster these level of comebacks. I think the big thing to keep an eye on is who surrenders that opening pick. I do like the change to Mute from Disrupt. I like that they're adapting. And Retro, as Mute, is going to punish Gomfy. He gets flashed out on top of Cool Vibe stairs. An explosive goes off, but Retro will persist before getting taken down from easily out on Hookah balcony. So the Soniqs can at least answer back after sacrificing Gomfy.
That was worth it. That's your base player gone, but that's not so worth it. Iconic not checking Garden as he rotates into the hallway. Slebin will get NJR though, so it's a constant back and forth with these teams. Disrupt a lot more on the line though. The Soniqs are right about to win the round. Or I guess technically it's equal amounts of things on the line. It's just, it's worse prospect for Disrupt is a better way of putting it. Soniqs have control of B bomb site, and they want to go for the plant. They've got the defenders contained outside of the site itself, and they're going to set up on the angles to continue that tradition. They have 1 player on rappel, able to control the rotates, and 1 player on the balcony able to control the push in through the door. You can see the last attacker is over by Aqua, though, and he wants to remedy that. He's making his way over to the big window, which will be opened up by Easily, and this will gain even more control for the attack. EE1D forces the defenders to stand still. Oh, he's over repositioned, but Reed is now trapped in a corner, and Easily's going for the plant while Slebin covers. This is great control here for the Soniqs, and it'll work out for them as they get the post plant. Shuttle with 2 big kills, though. That's massive. He gets the planter with the C4 and the repeller with his gun, and the final kill for J90. Disrupt will keep themselves in it against all odds. Shuttle, what a play.
Really remarkable stuff. I really like the way that SQ played that one out, but then the comeback from Disrupt is excellent too. Some of that falls onto the shoulders of Super, who just isn't able to tag and kill the player that was rushing back to the bomb site. That was the cross being held from Hookah. Slebin could have also done the same, but he was focused on Reed, and Reed gets downed, but then Slebin is left tossing and turning after the Nitro Cell takes care of Easily. One of the problems with planting in that default spot is that people know where you are, and a Nitro Cell is very easily landed on your position. It ends up narrowing it down to just Super and Slebin. Super dies, and Slebin is left to literally twist on that wire, and he can't really go anywhere. He's very vulnerable. He can't cover both the window and the run out on the Hookah balcony. Best case scenario for Slebin is that he kills one, but then dies to the other. I mean, he doesn't get either, but there is almost 0 chance that he's going to be able to walk away from that one still alive, which ends up netting DG the round regardless of who it is that gets the final kill. Is J90 in that particular instance. So things go a little bit differently. And suddenly, overtime is but a single round away. And it's because of the post-plant play from DG. They perfectly answered right after Easily got off that diffuser. And like so many teams do when they think they have more control than they actually do, you get caught with your pants down seconds after the diffuser is planted and you are trying to get as far away from the bomb site to cover like you need to. That's a tough situation for Soniqs to find themselves in, because it seemed certainly like they had that round in the bag, and with it they would have taken the map. And now I would argue that overtime is a very high probability.
A bomb has been located.
I mean, yeah, it's 1 round away, so I would say so. Yeah. But, you know, DG could really mess up their early engagements and lose the round, because that seems to be the major determining factor. We've seen a few exceptions to this, of course, as you mentioned, that last round. But, no, I don't. First kill there, J90 eliminated. Iconic will win that early fight. Oh, so important. And another one for Iconic.
Oh.
The man just cannot be stopped. The ADSs and the Wamai being burnt over by Mud Corner. But at this point, it might not really matter. Sonics have established for themselves a significant man advantage. They've done this before, though, and they've lost it before. So let's not count them out yet. Let's see what Disrupt is going to answer back with. Shuttle, NJR, and Retro are definitely 3 players you should not count out early. Iconic gets his 3rd kill, so maybe I'm speaking too soon. That's a weird rush from Slebin, and it's punished, but it won't matter. As easily gets the refrag. It's all on Shuttle, who will pick up 1 from the bar. He has to find 3 more. No, sir. Gomfi gets the final kill, and the Sonics will take map number 1.
Iconic. What term, Michael, did we use to describe him again?
Explosive.
Explosiveness.
Yes.
From, I guess, technically the newest member of the Sonics, because the other 2, Gomfi and Slevin, were longer standing, but had issues, unfortunately, with the government.
check.
Anyway, Iconic. 14 kills. That's quite impressive. And the rest of his team obviously didn't do too poorly. Easily Slebin and Super all sitting with 7 kills, 9 for Gomfi, but Iconic really showed up big there and was able to silence some of the big guns from DG. Shuttle tried his best. He was a standout performer for Disrupt, but 1 player is not enough. That leaves Clubhouse as the next map. That's DG's choice. We'll see what they can do on that. But before we get there, we have the analysts. And before we get to them, we have a break. So sit tight. We'll be back with more Rainbow Six action.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know, it wasn't for long, but Sonics versus Disrupt hasn't disappointed so far. We saw some great plays happening left and right, and also the 1v1 at the beginning that we saw between Iconic and NJR, it made me smile. It just shows that both of these teams are gunning at all costs, trying to secure the win.
God, I really love the rookie storyline going back and forth. The new blood that comes into T1 whenever we're able to highlight it. This one, that right there, that 1v1
So nice.
with Iconic jumping out the window and nabbing NJR. That kind of stuff is the storyline you really, really love to see. And for a map like Coastline, it's always going to be a knockdown, drag-out brawl. No matter where you are on the map, somehow along the way, it is going to be an absolute slugfest. And Coastline always has that reputation. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is the fact that almost every single one of these players, from a statistical point of view, were neck and neck with their own stats. Their own kills, their own deaths were basically the same. If we have the ability to pull up stats, you can see it in a second. But aside from Iconic, who went massively positive, and Reed, who didn't quite hold up to the same expectation, everyone was neck and neck with their own kills and their own deaths.
All right, here goes the stats. Disrupt Gaming, you see Shuttle and NJR up top, and I'm gonna be honest, Shuttle and NJR,
How tight that is.
yeah, I love the ASMR.
So tight.
They're becoming the duo so far. But the Sonics, all right, you call them Iconic, you know, we call them the Black Mamba, Black Jesus, whatever you want to do. 14 kills, 9 deaths. Once again, he does it. But behind him, it's important to see the fact that Gomfi finally woke up, Jesse. But the way the Sonics are attacking and using an example of iconic jumping into Sunrise and getting a kill on the guy in pink. That's something that I remember vividly, and it just goes to show just how aggressive and how much they wanted to execute these pushes in the site and made it happen. That really impressed you, right?
Yeah, no, the site pushes were really nice to see from Soniqs. You know, they do this thing sometimes where they identify weak points in the defense, and they get that one pick. And Parker talked about this, how one pick for the Soniqs can turn into site control, can turn into so much more, can turn into a dominant round. And sometimes you just see 4 guys rushing into the bomb site after one pick. And a lot of that is like the droning phase, identification of where those weak points in the attacks are. The Soniqs use their drones really aggressively. They lose a lot of drones, but they gain a lot of information out of those drones. And part of that is scouting out, you know, where those weak points are, and they're great at identifying that and capitalizing off of that. Parker also brought up the Lion and how that was a huge part of their strategy, and it was, you know, and it stops those players from really doing anything once you're going for that big rush. There was some conversations about, well, why don't you bring a Vigil, why don't you bring a Mute? Yeah. It's really hard to work those operators in when you don't have a Wamai ban, because you've got to play Wamai, you got to play Jaeger, you got to play a lot of these like really heavy like meta operators that you just can't do without if they're not banned off. So I was a little shocked we didn't see a Wamai ban. I think it would have helped out DG quite a bit. I don't know if the Maestro ban was huge for them. There's no dedicated Maestro main on Soniqs. They all kind of play it every now and again. So yeah, I mean, a lot to talk about with those pushers with Soniqs for sure.
That's actually a really good point you brought up, Jesse. I really can't remember the last time I saw Maestro get played on the Soniqs, right? But most importantly, we're heading into map 2 soon, which is going to be Clubhouse. I said on stream when I was an analyst, I said, you know, you don't take NJR to Clubhouse and watch what happens. And, you know, they do pretty well. Ain't that right, Jacob?
This is what I'm really excited to see, only because of that NJR stat. You can say Clubhouse is the most iconic map that we've ever seen, and we're taking iconic to said iconic map in just a couple minutes. This is a map that Soniqs have very decidedly not wanted to play. Over the past couple of months, they've avoided this like the plague. They've banned it any time it's not been banned against them, and they've also never played it. So they haven't had to worry about this in the NAL through stage 2. I would question whether that means they're trying to save something up for it, if they're trying to pull a G2, save some strats, try to mask all of what they might have prepped for the map. But on the opposite side of things, DG have also won it twice. Now, granted, they've won it in 2 very, very hard-fought games, both against E United. Now, E United's not here. They placed in 7th overall, which means they didn't have the opportunity to play in this qualifier. So you could say DG winning twice against a team that is beneath them might not suggest that they're that strong on Clubhouse, but honestly, I'd beg to differ. I think they can absolutely shine on Club, especially if the Soniqs just haven't given them a lot of tape to work with.
All right, so map 2 is almost ready. We're just about getting there, but final thoughts, you know what? Jacob, you just had that long, beautiful piece. I'm gonna leave it up to you, Jesse. Make it quick. What do you think the outcome is going to be on Clubhouse? What should we look out for?
Listen, I talked to Retro a couple of days ago, and he said, we talked about Clubhouse specifically, right? And he said, don't bring DG to Clubhouse because they're really good on this map. I love their CCTV cache holds. If we get the right bans, you'll see a very interesting hold with an extension to construction. I really enjoy watching Disrupt Gaming on this map. They play it unlike any other team. I expect them to bounce back and make it a 2-1 series for somebody at the end of the day.
That just hyped me up, Jesse. You have no idea. But ladies and gentlemen, for those of you at home that are currently watching, we're about to head into map 2 to see if the Soniqs can close this out with a 2-0 run against Disrupt Gaming, but Kicks and Parker, take it away.
Thank you very, very much, Veli. Hopefully it's us. No commercial this time. Yes, we did it, Michael.
It's ours now.
We did it.
We have taken it away.
We have a second matchup for you in just a moment, but before we get there, we have a community question phrased, and I'll read it in the best that I can. These two clicked heads in stage 2, but who has the higher headshot percentage? Coming out of this second match will be Iconic or NJR, and I feel like asking now is kind of cheating with how we've seen Iconic play.
NJR's played pretty well as also. He was
yeah, but he's not Iconic, so I win.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, I guess we'll find out who wins the end. That's the sort of poll that could actually go either way. We've had both these teams kind of be neck and neck with each other for a really long time. As mentioned, Clubhouse is a map that Disrupt tends to play fairly well on. So we'll see. Maybe we get that map number 3. I'm hopeful. We had a really close map number 1, and I think that is a nice shine of a ray of sunshine for the map number 2.
I agree. I liked map number 1 very, very much. It's the most competitive map we've seen so far today. But it's like my father always loves to say, you can't jump out of a basement window. So here we are.
True.
Speaking of basement, there's a bomb site on this map. Basement. People love to play it. Church and Arsenal. We'll see how many times it gets played as we queue in to Clubhouse. Map number 2 between the Soniqs and Disrupt Gaming. On the line for the Soniqs. If they prevail, they will face off against Space Station. And the winner of that will go to the finals to see who makes it into the qualifiers. The loser of this matchup, which right now Disrupt is losing, well, they would play against Mirage. I believe that match is coming later today.
Yep. So
once again, as we would like to establish this tradition, all of you wonderful folks that are watching this, please join us in good lucking and having funning to all of the people who are in this game, to all of you watching at GLHF in the chat, please. Thatcher and Maverick will be the first 2 operator bans. Clubhouse, obviously a very different map now that there are 3 hard breachers that will escape the ban phase. Ace, Hibana, and Thermite are all usable here and will all likely show up. However, Thatcher and Maverick being removed means that, here you have it. Okay, never mind them. I was going to say, an operator like Kaid, really strong. Well, he's gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
he joined the pile along with Valkyrie.
You have to ban him if the Maverick Thatcher are both banned. On Clubhouse especially, there's some things you could do with Cade's Electroclaws that, well, can't be found by a Kali. So definitely a very essential ban there, and one that is swiftly ushered in at the very end. So basement defense here for the Soniqs to start things. I chose to go to defense first, where they'll be most comfortable. Mira is going to be brought to the basement. That's interesting. 6 picket goes to the Pulse, and that'll change out to a Mozzie. Mozzie's seen him, I think, seen a surge in popularity ever since he got the 1.5 on the Roni. It just makes him a more versatile fragger. Wow, Caliber. Okay. Yeah.
I said when Jesse cited me multiple times in a row, I typed in our group chat, yes, I am a genius. Please cite me more. Thank you. And then Jesse Chick responded with, you are dumb.
And then Caliber with the most recent addition, y'all suck, I hate it here.
You hear that, production? You gave him a shot, and this is how he talks to you. You hear that?
Ungrateful.
You know,
ungrateful.
Production hears it loud and clear. So, breaking news, Caliber Jacob fired on his first day on the job.
That was a short-lived career. He will be missed. Not.
Nobody takes it.
Nobody takes what, Parker?
Well, he's the line. He says the line. Everybody say the line, and he goes, BDS takes it, or G2 takes it.
Oh,
he
right.
said Soniqs takes it,
right,
I think,
right.
for this one.
Right, okay.
So
nobody takes it. He won't be taking it back when he comes to the analyst desk.
I will say this.
What's up?
I think Jacob's been doing a bang-up job.
Yeah,
So,
he's definitely killing it. For those of you...
a welcome presence on the desk. So thank you.
Yeah,
Jacob.
in case it wasn't obvious, we were doing a bit.
Yes.
He's killing it. Now, the roam clear on the top floor for Disrupt is slowly unfolding. Sleben and Iconic are still upstairs, but they've been forced off the west side to the east, and the delay work is still happening thanks to the Mute Jammers and the Mozzie Pests that were placed on the top floor. But it's, yeah, steadily getting chipped away at by the attack.
The patience from the Soniqs. Don't be fooled by their presence on the top floor. This is a basement hold. Church and Arsenal is the bomb site that the Soniqs are protecting. But you can see that there has been a considerable amount of gadgets that have been put in this position to try and slow down DG. And Slevin's just swinging for the fences right now. He manages to chip away some of the HP of NJRs inside of construction. And, well, DG right now are... well, they're kind of scrambling, frankly. I don't think they were expecting such an aggressive and in-your-face style of play upstairs. The exact halfway mark through the round, though, the Soniqs have been called back to the site. So a horn has been sounded, and they have all returned. It looks like it, at least. There's 4 of them. Where, oh, where is Gomfy? There he is. So he's not in the bomb site, but he's close enough. He's going to be playing on the top of blue. This is very similar to Adam's spot, Michael, and we know what happens when people don't drone this out. Nitro cell ready. Gomfi just completely blows all of that. And now he's back down below.
What a mess. At least he'll get back with his life. And he can still do some work with his gun. So that'll be significant. Especially as we get close to the end of this round. Only 40 seconds to go. Habana starting to open up the hatch, but it's an impact trick there from the Vigil of Super to save it. He's got one more impact, and he can do it now, but he's just going to let it happen. Can't really blame the guy. The angles are being held from above, and look at the time. There's not much left for Disrupt. They really need to hit the site and hit it now. It's going to begin with Gomfi. Eliminated by box 3. That's from Dirt Tunnel. Retro gets the kill. J90 adds to it, and it's starting to seem like Disrupt has a chance. But Super, deep in the site, will get 2 before finally getting eliminated by Reed, who gets his second on the entry. And the plant's going down in the 1v1. Iconic needs to stop this. He'll find the planter and do just that. Soniqs will take the first round.
What a mess.
Absolute mess.
What a mess that was. Goodness gracious. Super takes a lot of heat from the community for being the one usually on the bottom of the Soniqs scoreboard, but he can be credited for almost solely winning that round. The play on the hatch, stopping the diffuse carrier, stopping the follow-up 1-2 punch from DG. That diffuser surrendered. The rest of the Soniqs obviously did a great job off-site. The Mira hunkered down in church. Iconic returning to the bomb site from the bottom of the main stairs. But at the end of the day, it's Super who ultimately shuts the door on the objective play from Disrupt. DG are not able to find their footing quick enough, and by the time they are, it's a 1v1 with a long 7 seconds. And those 7 seconds, Michael, feel like an eternity. No way for Iconic to throw that one. So the Soniqs end up recovering on a round that really should not have gone their favor. Most of the breaks were going in DG's direction, and yet DG scrambled. And that's what we tend to find when you leave only 10 to 20 seconds left in the round and you don't have any utility. You often find yourself scrambling, and it's just an all-out brawl. Soniqs landing the better punches that time around, and they take their very first defense. Also, Clubhouse is a defender-sided map. Quite so, and typically if teams know their stuff, we can see Clubhouse break in favor of the defense 4-2 more often than not. That is the scoreline and the baseline, I would argue, that the Soniqs need to be playing towards. Wisely pointed out by the analyst that this is not a map that sees much play, if at all, from the Soniqs. And yet, if they can take 4-2 on Clubhouse, they are going to be prepped in a good spot for the side swap when DG goes on to defense.
Looks like the focus is currently on the platform wall, but as you can see, Mute Jammer stopping it from getting opened up. That'll need to be remedied. It'll likely be Shuttle and JR, one of the two, to throw an explosive downstairs to deal with that Mute Jammer. And JR is going to be first up, but the challenge here will actually win out for Shuttle. Super. Losing out on the pixel angle. And now not only does Disrupt get the wall open, they get a kill to boot.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It's not
All
great.
told, pretty successful for them.
Ooh.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
But Gomfi will just peek onto the platform and win a fight with Retro. So the wall gets opened. Job done for the Thermite, but he's also gone.
Rough stuff for DG, losing like that. Reed now will have to go for the plant. He will likely smoke off his own area and then go for it. There is a fallback plan for DG with Ace carrying smokes, so J90 will be able to get those smokes off if need be. Present on the SQ lineup is just a Jaeger. No Wamai. Wamai is not banned, so this double gadget denial that comes out from these operators could still very much be in play, but the Soniqs don't want to run with it instead. Gomfi picked off from a very long-range angle from NJR. That is a bit of negligence on Sonic's part. They're not expecting somebody to still be out by the factory ruins, shipping, whatever people want to refer to it as. That's one piece of the puzzle for DG that they don't need to find, and they can hunt elsewhere. This leaves more on the shoulders of Sleben, who's being pursued from 2 different members of DG. And this formidable offense that was present in round number 1, it didn't finish what it started, but it was still quite strong. Now it's Slevin to try and narrow this down in Garage. And a 2v2 very quickly. Iconic and Slevin. Another from Slevin looking to try to silence NJR. He'll do just that. Tries to pull out the pistol. It's a 1v1 yet again. Iconic in this same position. And what's he going to do? It looks like the goal is to hide. The diffuser will need to be retrieved, but with only 10 seconds left, J90's going to have to go for frags here. He'll be slowed by the Banshee. If Iconic's smart, he'll just hide somewhere safely, but he gets the pings. 2 seconds left for him to ride this one out. He pops up, gets the kill, pads his stat. 4 kills for Iconic so far. He clutches yet another round, and the Sonics are up 2-0.
That was a close call there, but Iconic knew he needed to control the round, even though it was a risk to peek. It was also a risk to play it safe. His first thought was to retreat to Workshop. And we know, because we can see through walls, and we have the timer, and we are, sitting as a third party observing this, not having to actually do the thinking. We know that retreating into Workshop would have been the right call. He would have won it on time, period. However, he made the decision to commit to Cash in that last 1v1, and he had to be careful whether he was playing it passive or forcing engage. I think Iconic played it as well as he could have in that moment, and credit to him for winning the 1v1, as he has been doing time and time again for the Sonics. That round was definitely interesting. Disrupt. They open up the platform. They lose a player for it. They answer back with a freebie on the breach. They seriously fumble their push into the garage. They've got a Capitao throwing down bolts onto rafters. R1, R2 disabled. Where's the Jaeger? At the top of the stairs. And how? How does he get 2 kills from the top of the stairs? That's the question. The round should have been DG's through and through. The fact that they lost anybody to that Jaeger is a travesty. But I guess they thought the Jaeger would retreat into sight or something. Not so. Well played there to the Sonics. Nice clutch from Iconic.
Extremely odd, and I would even argue unorthodox play, but when you've got that little time left and you're feeling your shots, you might just want to bury yourself in that garage, and that's what happened. Turns out that the gamble for the Sonics works. Slevin plays it wisely enough, and hey, that is a big part of why Iconic is capable of clutching. If he doesn't have that setup from Slevin, it's a 1v3, not a 1v1. That 2v3 becomes a 2v2, and then all Iconic needs to do is just ride it out, and yeah. I mean, he went for the flashy play. It was a risk with him re-engaging from his spot inside of Cash. He could have just very easily hid. Regardless, the Sonics have now won 2 rounds that I would say they probably had no business winning. Church and CCTV/Cash go in their favorites. Now off to Jim and Master is, well, for those of you that might be new viewers, you're not going to see anything on that main floor at all.
Interesting angle from Super there. The way he's trying to play in Cash is very different. Mute Jammer will be destroyed, but he's got impacts to protect him from the ace charge, the Selma. Second one goes on the wall, second impact to stop it. And here comes the third. There it is. J90 will get the wall open and win the fight. Super in the Cash room eliminated. He managed to burn some utility in the fair amount of time, but ultimately a win there for the attack. And as Shuttle gets Gomfy, it looks even better for DG. Sonics now on a serious deficit. They do have one roamer. That's going to be Slevin. He can work something out here, maybe get some trades back, but it doesn't seem very likely. As we come down to the last minute, DG have the control they bargained for. They've got enough time to execute. They've got the man advantage, and, well, that usually amounts to a round win.
DG have been so good at getting these opening picks, and they have looked much better practiced on this map. Now, those 2 rounds that you've surrendered to the Sonics might come back to haunt you, but the thing for DG is that they'll be going on a defense next if you guarantee them 4 rounds on that. This is a lot closer, even though the Sonics have established this early lead. Things go from bad to worse as it's Iconic again to clutch, except this time the odds are even more in favor of DG. A clutch has to start with 1, and that's exactly what Iconic will do. The problem is that he's got too many angles he's going to have to hold off on. He only finds a single kill as the clock strikes midnight on the Cinderella play of Iconic. DG takes the very first of their attacks, It comes in round number 3.
Oh boy. All right. So, well, it all started obviously with that cache clear and the complete failure of the cache hold from the defense. Very one-sided trouncing over there. And when the Sonics decided to try and double down and then triple down and then, oh, we're all dead now. Yeah, nice try there for the Sonics on the hold. Ultimately, DG just won their gunfights on cache. And they were very patient on turning it into a round win. That's the thing that you love to see, is the professionalism from a team like Disrupt, who will take their early advantage and they will carefully turn that into a round win. We've seen so many times where individuals or whole teams will rush themselves and lose it to the last 2 or 3 defenders. So major props to DG for their patience. That odd cache hold that we saw from the Sonics definitely could have worked. It just wasn't played very well, to be blunt. So we'll see if they attempt that again next time they go to gym. But for now, the Sonics don't need to. It is technically your tertiary sites where most teams don't want to be 90% of the time. So now that the bottom floor has opened up for the Sonics, they will go back.
I was wondering when the cycle was going to break here, because you have the Sonics playing from behind on all 3 of these rounds, winning 2 of them. Something breaks at some point that is not sustainable to play off of. You cannot clutch every single round in 1vx's. There's a reason why, you know, Shuttle was heralded as one of the players with 6 1vx's, and that was the whole stage, by the way. Already Iconic has 2 1vx's in a single map. So just to show you how unlikely this is to continue happening and how unsustainable it is. For the Sonics, it means that they're going to need a greater team effort. They are being carried right now by Iconic by large part. Don't discredit Super's impactful round on Church in round number 1. Back to this bomb site they go. And the one thing that DG had significant issue with here was that they couldn't deal with the roam. Well, they seem to be doing a pretty decent job of it now. About half of the round in, and a lot of damage has been done to Sleben. He's playing on the top of red stairs, and he's now completely gone. Very same as round number 1. About the halfway mark, everybody gets called back to the bomb site. Comfy was playing inside of blue. He wasn't the most effective there, so it doesn't surprise me that he's also been recalled as well. If DG are smart, they'll realize that history is repeating itself, so now you have a lot of leeway to begin to pressure the site, given that the off-site roam is gone.
A minute's a long time in competitive Siege.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
We'll see how adeptly DG utilize it. They haven't gotten the drop open just yet. 2 impacts left for Super, so he can delay a lot. There are 3 sets of Excaros still for J90. He will get the drop open eventually, but it's going to cost him. And the main price will be time right now, especially with that mirror window on the church wall. That mirror window alone is going to prevent pressure from the bottom of main stairs, which is a huge avenue. The impact tricking, though, for Super will fail utterly, so no time wasted, and he'll need to confront the attackers directly through the drop this time. Not ideal circumstances for the defense to be placed in, but Super did a great job last time he was here. He'll do some damage to Shuttle, but no more than he received, and Retro will get him eventually pushing out of dirt. He's got 2 kills on this entry, looking for the 3rd, but it's Shuttle to get it. And JR gets the 4th, and now all on Iconic from above. He'll trade with Shuttle, and Disrupt will take the round with seconds to spare.
This could very easily be a 4-0, by the way. It's all tied up now, and those 2 rounds for Sonics looked pretty good, but man, do the Sonics just not have an answer to Disrupt here. The very first round, all right, the Sonics were doing a superb job at stalling for the first minute or so, but since then, rounds 2, 3, and 4 have been so decisively DG's to lose that at some point they need to start winning the rounds. So now they put 2 together. DG's entry is strong. They are working well, and they are coordinated. They know exactly which parts of the bomb sites to target. The Sonics aren't really showing me anything that I'm liking on defense right now, which is a terrible sign, Because if you are a competent Clubhouse team, you need to win on defense. The Sonics' only victories on defense came because of miraculous individual contributions. That's it. It's not a greater or more sound strategy. That is not the spot you want to find yourself in here. There is a theory that teams will not play certain maps because they want to hide them for important games. Clubhouse is an important map in an important match between these two teams. The Sonics came one round within qualifying for the major in the summer. Now for the fall major, they're looking to repeat that. They're going to have to topple SSG, who I would assume is everybody's favorite in the qualifiers. But Dark Zero was very likely everybody's favorite in the previous set of quals, and guess what? Didn't matter, the Sonics brought the heat to them. This time around, it's very possible that Clubhouse wasn't played by the Sonics so that they could allow a good Clubhouse team to pull it out and stun them, as we saw FaZe do to Empire way back at the Raleigh Major last year. But right now, I'm not getting that vibe. Right now, the vibe I'm getting is that this is just a bad map for the Sonics and that maybe they've practiced it and we're comfortable on it, but clearly it's not enough. The tides could change when the sides change, but DG has been the better team despite the scoreline on this map.
Certainly have been. Their attacks have proven lethal, and that's the key, as you mentioned. So, we'll see if that will continue. Any more rounds and things start to get a little icy for the Sonics. The wall will get opened up now that NJR has landed his impact from below and done away with that mute jammer. There's the exothermic. Wall triumphantly opened up by DG. They've also got garage wall opened up. Super's impact tricking not working out over there just yet. He's going to continue to play downstairs, though. He can further assist Slebin on rafters, and he can open up below the site should plant attempt come in early from DG. Right now, though, DG, methodical as ever, sizing up their opponent and preparing their execution. It seems like the next step here for DG is garage control, as they're not making a motion to get control of workshop, which would be your typical next step in a split push. With garage control, they can launch the crossfire into server and go for the plant. They've got to deal with Slebin and Super first, and that is no small task.
Super down below with 1 minute to go, and he's going to get flamed out. As you can see, the hostile red ping giving away that position. DG watched intently from the Maestro cam that they ping away at, and we'll see what Slebin can accomplish, as there goes the grenade over his head. No explosion yet, possibly eaten by an ADS, a sound cue that I didn't hear. It's a strong spot for Slebin to play off of. He flicks on to Reed and knows that there's another over on the doorway, and he'll do some damage to Retro. Doing more damage as he fires away, but he's going to need a reload. Hunted down inside of garage, and that's got full attention of Disrupt. A second kill from Slebin on this spot. He's perched up top, punishing more marks, but he can't hit them all on the shuttle. Shuttle will walk away with 30 HP, but he'll need to pick up that grenade. A bit of frustration as he tosses away a frag grenade, and now Shuttle inside of garage with Diffuser finishing off the kill on the Slebin. 10 seconds left, he'll hop through the window, extremely vulnerable. But DG are starting to turn this one around. Iconic guns one down, it's J90 against the world, but Iconic another clutch, if you could even call it that. The lead goes back to the Sonics on the strongest round that we've seen out of them, and they will at worst tie the first half.
Well done there to Iconic, but mostly Slebin on the top of rafters. A great job of not only delaying the round by just persisting on rafters, especially after Super was peeled away from him thanks to that firebolt, but also on top of staying alive in rafters and on top of delaying for so long, managing to get 2 kills, downing that diffuser, especially with only seconds to spare in the round. That is big for Slebin. You got to give him major accolades for that. Not an easy task. Rafters is a difficult position to play, and he did it with a full reinforcement, no hope of getting out. So, the Sonics, continuing to evolve their strategy. Little things like that double reinforced wall on the top of rafters really do go a long way. And they certainly upset the execution for Disrupt, which stayed pretty much the same-ish as usual. Same lineup, same execution pattern, slightly different placement of certain pieces of utility, but really, the story here, again, for me, is Soniqs' constant adaptation to their opponent. It's their most impressive trait so far. Also iconic. They'll go to the basement for their last defense of this first half.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
This has been a fascinating game to watch so far between these two teams, very evenly matched. I remember at the start of the season when Oxygen's stock had fallen quite a bit, and with Iconic settling into his role on the Soniqs and having Gomfy and Slevin for a full season, many people, including myself, by the way, thought that there was an outside shot, but a shot nonetheless, that the Soniqs could break into the top 4. They find themselves cemented very firmly in the middle of the US division. DG, I think, have surprised a lot of people. And the fact that DG is keeping pace with the Soniqs to a certain extent, as this has been a relatively close matchup on both Clubhouse and on Coastline prior, that I'm more impressed with DG here. Like I said, losing Nyx left a bit of a leadership void to a certain extent, whether they want to admit it or not. And that means that when you look at DG's success, it's impressive how they've been able to pivot. And the former alumni of the Sonic school, J90, is leading the way. Not in the game, though. That's Iconic's crown. But still, for Disrupt, a commendable showing. And I suspect we'll see a third map between these teams.
Feels like a third map right now. We're not quite there yet, but certainly getting there. Especially after Iconic ate, was that 95 damage? Yeah, he's going to die in his next gunfight. Impact tricking coming out here for Super. He'll land it this time. That's great. There's not much time burnt so far for the defense. That last set of Exkyros will likely win, and oh, that's rough. As Shuttle gets Super and Iconic on low HP, the Soniqs are poised to lose this one. It looks like a 3-3, and a 3-3 on a defensive half favors the attack on Clubhouse. DG in a great position right now. They just need to carry it all the way through. Considering they've got the hard destruction that they want done, and they've got about 50 seconds, it seems likely that DG will clean this up.
NJR will hit the barbed wire, but he catches Sleben on the cross inside of blue. These opening picks breaking so decidedly in favor of Disrupt. And with it, they're able to just bully the bomb site. Another goes with Iconic as he had very minimal HP. Slevin low as well. NJR is going to be the star of the show inside of blue as he's looking for anything he can find. Downed and dropped with Easily and Gomfy on a sliver of HP each. Easily finds 2 kills. That's a big play from him. Diffuser goes down all the same. Gomfy trapped inside of Dirt Tunnel. Easily will need to retake from Church. This is a damning spot to be in. But another for Easily. That's his 3rd kill so far. He's going to need to clutch ace. Pressured from the bottom of main stairs, but he's not going to be able to do much with that as he finds the drone, but not the kill onto J90. DG break even with the Soniqs after that round. It's 3 apiece. And we are once again right back at square one as we were after the first half on Coastline.
Square one indeed. The 3-3 split. So, that execution from DG mostly hinged around NJR's play inside of blue. He not only managed to get those early kills, but he also, most importantly, distracted the entire defense. You saw everyone on the Soniqs scrambling to try and deal with this Zofia in blue. Get him out, get him out. And eventually Easily did get that kill, but too little too late at that point. However, I don't think that's the extent of it. I think also that impact tricking failing for the Soniqs was pretty rough. The kill on top of that for DG made it even worse. And that early damage that was incurred for Iconic was another little crippling blow for the defense there. We'll see how the Soniqs fares on attack, though. While, yes, this is a defender-favored map, there's always the possibility that the way that teams line up against each other, the attack can surprise you. So maybe Soniqs are really, really good at attacking on Clubhouse, and this is going to go all the way to OT and be super-duper tight. But right now, the confidence seems to be in Disrupt's corner.
I would say that Disruptor's still the odds-on favorite to take this map. You look at the fact that there was no definitive win for the Sonics on the more favorable half. Add to that the fact that they don't play this map often enough for us to draw any real data from that. The fact that Disrupt picked this map, I would say that right now it's definitely leaning towards DG. We can guess based on the information we have, but I mean, there have been matches that we've gone into where we have thought it is definitely going to break one way, and it absolutely does not go that way at all. I mean, look at the TSM OXG match that we casted a couple weeks ago. That looked like a throwaway match with next to no stakes, and yet it ended up being extraordinarily close and went to the bitter end. So, our expectations can be subverted.
You gotta wait till it's done.
Games aren't played on paper, Michael.
True. So, DG needs to prove what they're made of and show us that all of the expectations that we're putting in their corner right now are well placed. This is, wow, that is a really, okay, first of all, that's a hard C4 to land, period. Second of all, it's made harder by the electricity on the wall, which has a little bit of reach. So, big risks here for NJR, but I'm sure he's got it down. He knows exactly what he's doing. Ree's gonna eat some damage though. The peek from Moto working for Sonics. NJR sets up that C4 once again. He's waiting for a call. Somebody on the bottom of main stairs. The call has not been relayed just yet. Gonfi's in a position. There's the C4, and it actually lands. Gonfi reacts to it, but at a snail's pace. And as Retro gets Slebin, it becomes even worse for the Sonics.
Iconic picking away at Retro, who decides to push up to the boxes in the back of Arsenal, and choking off an entry point into Church is Reed. He has none of those gas canisters left, so all he can do is just wait for somebody to drop. He's going to be decently exposed if somebody pushes through Church. Easily punished by Shuttle. That's another Nitro cell finding its mark. 2 explosive ends for Sonics members, as Iconic will now try to take control of the main hallway. Super dies inside of Blue, too focused on picking away at the utility, and Iconic is down for the count as well. What an utterly dominant start to defense for Disrupt as they take the lead. And believe it or not, this is their first lead of this map and the first lead of this series.
Well done to Disrupt. C4 landing at the bottom main caught me by surprise. Gonfi seemed to be pretty far away from the actual bottom main, and he saw the C4, heard the C4, reacted to the C4, and died to the C4. Also, the way that Sonic set themselves up for that execution was puzzling, because it looks like they wanted to do, what, a church wall execution? They had so little presence anywhere other than Moto and bottom main, which is troublesome, to say the least. I mean, it's a very rigid execution strategy, and usually you see it coupled with, Blue, kitchen drop, dirt, all these different options for the basement attacks. You're going to typically see 2 options utilized, and there'll be 2 options that are on the other side of the execution. So like dirt and blue, or kitchen dirt, or kitchen dirt blue, or dirt and Moto, or blue and Moto. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was a very linear attack from the Sonics, and it was repelled by DG, as it ought to have been. That's it. That's the extent of it, really. I'm also surprised again that Gonfi dies at the bottom main to such a typical C4 as the one over Church Wall. You know that's gonna happen. Come on, you know. I don't know.
There goes the garage walls, by the way, from the Ace. Band operator obviously is Maverick, so Hibana could get brought, but in this case, Ace's gadgets do what you want those X-Kairos to do, and with the exception of the hatches, they're going to do it better on those horizontal reinforcements. So garage opened up, and now it also looks like, there it goes, the CCTV wall opened as well. The Sonics will reposition themselves after the bounty that they had on those reinforcements ends up getting paid off. This is something that we've actually seen quite a fair bit. A smoke playing inside of garage with the FMG in hand. Reed's going to play the spot with a 1.5, by the way. If you've got sight set up in the hands of somebody else, in this case, it's likely Shuttle, then you can fight back, and Reed will do that by removing Iconic from the server. NJR down below, and the push from Soniqs ends up heading towards the catwalk. The Jaeger will have them very firmly in his sight. Another from Reed, this time onto Super, and the Zofia of Gomfi is going to get picked apart as well, as he doesn't seem to know it, and there it is! NJR in Oil Pit. He's real slick, and he'll be able to get away. Sleben looking to greet him in blue, and will do so. So at least it will get a little bit closer. 2 big kills from Sleben. This is now becoming a scenario where it is more winnable for SQ, especially with Reed's HP. Gas canister tossed on down, and Sleben is just itching for Reed to take this fight. Smartly, the smoke will lay prone. Looking towards the door, easily could be lined up next. If Reed pops up, he knows he's dead. Doesn't really matter. It's a formality, as easily takes him out of the fray. It's a 2v2, Michael. This has not stopped at all, and is now far more winnable for the Soniqs than it was 30 seconds ago.
Certainly seeming like actually we might see a clutch up here from Easily and Sleben. Great job from both of them so far. J90 eats a lot of damage, but he dishes out as well. Information certainly in the favor of the defense right now, but with J90 losing his fight in red, that's huge. It's all on Shuttle. Now, he's been big through this series, and he's going to have to show up even bigger in this round. As he peeks, he'll get one. In the 1v1, Easily trying to plant, and that's being relayed, but he'll get off the plant. He's on low HP. He'll die swiftly to this SMG-11 or the shotgun, whatever Shuttle chooses. He bides his time, playing off the clock, forcing into Red Hall. He has information on Easily. It's being relayed to him from whatever device. It doesn't matter. And as Easily pushes into cash, he's running out of time now. He starts a fake plant, but he gets off it knowing he has to take the fight. He'll lose it. And Shuttle, such patience, such fortitude. He'll win the round on time and look pretty cool doing it with those glasses.
Well, our third rehost in 4 maps will come in. Not a good day for the sound, it seems to be. So we will once again come back to us, and we will adorn your screen on the left and on the right. That was a close one and a real nail biter for fans of both teams. Shuttle has really proven his worth today in a number of different ways. He was incredibly good on a number of rounds on Coastline. He's now paying dividends for the team with how poised he is on Clubhouse. Those first 2 rounds for the Soniqs, those clutches that Iconic pulled off, they are a difference maker here. Why? If both of them break in favor of the team who deserve to win the round, this game is over. It's a 7-1 for DG. We move on to map number 3. And I still think it's very likely that we're going to see Cafe, but it was less of a given 2 rounds ago. Now, these 2 rounds on which we've seen a team on defense play well on a map that is well suited to defense. Lots of confidence on their holds on Church. Extremely confident on the way that they played on Catwalk and into CCTV. The holes that were opened in the wall from the mute, allowing Reed to smoke off the choke point onto the CCTV balcony, and then with a 1.5 scope, be able to play aggressively on Catwalk, dueling the members of Soniqs at the doorway as they filed in one by one to die. And then none of them even thinking to drone out Oil Pit where NJR was lurking. It was 3 kills for Disrupt that went unanswered. Now, I think DG got a little bit too complacent and maybe a little bit too cute, and they decided to play aggressively. And by doing so, they got read by the Soniqs, who still had an abundance of time to be able to push towards the bomb site, even if they didn't have tons of drones or utility left at their disposal. And just goes to show you that the Soniqs can make up for lost time because they are a skilled team. Both rounds breaking in favor of Disrupt, and here we are with DG riding out the remainder of this map on a very comfortable side, Michael.
Very comfortable indeed, and it seems they're going to be able to turn it into the map 2 going towards Disrupt. And with that, and with the expectation of map 3 looming, Soniqs have to figure out if they're going to be able to push past this loss, or what appears to be a mounting loss. It's not unfathomable, and I think that overall Soniqs as a team have proven themselves to be pretty tenacious, especially given how close that last round came. It certainly could have broken in favor of Easily, could have gone to the Soniqs, but you know, when you have a player as patient and as smart as Shuttle, sometimes it's just not gonna happen. So this series has been one filled with upset rounds, one filled with down and dirty fights in the mud, one filled with strange choices strategically and strange happenstance with utility as well. I think that's my main takeaway so far. Both the Sonics and Disrupt have been having puzzling moments. Whether it be the kills or the utility, it really doesn't matter. It's all over the board. Many messy rounds with the brawls. And I'm wondering if either of these teams is going to, at any point, completely lock the other out, or if we're going to constantly see this sway. I mean, the score is 5-3 right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if it, over the next 2 rounds, becomes 5-5. And then, I wouldn't be surprised further if DG still wins in the end, despite the struggling from the Sonics. It's weird how this has been playing.
I agree. This has been an unpredictable day across the board. And when I say unpredictable, I mean, we assumed that Mirage was going in as the heavy underdog against SSG, but I don't think we expected it to be that quick. I mean, maybe you did.
No, I didn't.
I did not expect it to be that quick. And now you turn and we look at DG versus the Sonics, and I mean, I expected this one to be really close. These teams are very comparable. Whether the Sonics or Disrupt will privately or publicly concede that is none of my business, and frankly, I don't care. But when I see these two teams, I see them on about even footing in the grand scheme of the US division. So it makes a lot of sense that we are in the place we are in right now. Coastline was very close. 7-5 is as close as you can get without going to overtime. Those 2 rounds breaking here for the Sonics, rounds 1 and 2. Once again, clutches happen all the time, but the more sound strategy was in the hands of Disrupt. The better play in the hands of Disrupt. The round saving was in the hands of Iconic, but still, Disrupt were the better team on those 2 rounds until the final dying seconds of the round, where it was won by a player in a good spot. When you look at that, this map could have been put away, which would then, to me, suggest that the better team between these two is DG, because DG kept it close on the Sonics map, but is so far, currently, far outpacing the Sonics on their own map. There's an opportunity here to stick a dagger into the heart of the Sonics and their fans by going on to match point with 3 defensive rounds after that. That would be a stranglehold for Disrupt on this map. We'll see if it actually comes to pass. But for now, it is the least defendable bomb site, Gym Master, on the docket for DG.
As I like to say, the low-hanging fruit here for the Sonics. But do they have their picking gloves equipped? I don't know. Maybe they do. Have you ever tried playing video games with gloves? It's really...
No. Weren't there gamer gloves or something like that that were being marketed for a while?
I know there's gamer socks and there were like gamer shoes, but I don't know about gloves.
Gamer glasses?
Those are a thing, yeah.
We're not production. We're not sponsored by any of that stuff, right? We don't have like...
I don't think so.
We're not...
No.
There are gamer gloves. Okay, because I was going to say, if it's marketed as being for gamers, it's probably garbage.
Ooh, this rush in the hallway is actually going to get a kill and a 2 for Retro as he's ready for it. Slebin and Super now, the only players left on the Sonics. And, well, they got control of the bathroom, but what is that really going to matter? As now it's only Slebin in the 1v5. Between a rock and a hard place, Slebin will have to fight his way out with just his trusty R4C and 18 bullets left in that magazine. He's worried about getting pushed, but as you can see, Disrupt are patient. They will let the win come to them. And JR eats some damage there. Dishes out a little bit. Impact on Slebin. And there's the final kill. A flawless round for Disrupt as the Sonics tried to force their way into the hallway. And we go to match point.
They definitely had their gamer gloves on.
Were you waiting the whole action phase? Yeah.
Whole time. Yep.
It would be so crippling to have gloves on while playing. I could not do that.
So production was in our ear just before I decided to dump on the gamer accessories, by the way, just to make sure that I could say that and then not have some sponsor send off an angry email being like...
Right.
Production said that the idea behind the gamer gloves is to keep your hands warm and to stop perspiration so that you can keep a steady grip, which I guess is like, it kind of makes sense. I mean, there's a reason why we hand out hand packets, those hand warmers that at LAN when they're playing with those things.
Right, but also it would create unfathomable amounts of friction on your mouse pad and make it so you probably wouldn't be able to swipe at all. Like, if it's designed for gripping your mouse, then I imagine it's a grippy surface. So it'd be really hard to move your hand on the mouse pad. Like, how would that be practical? I guess
I don't know.
Like, if you,
I mean, you got gamers out here wearing shooting sleeves like they're LeBron James.
Well,
so...
no, see, that I can see though, because that actually reduces the friction on the mouse pad and actually adds a level of consistency to that friction. Because we were talking about sweat earlier, and technically speaking, if like you have a hot day and your wrist is sweating, then it creates extra friction on the mouse pad and give you an inconsistent mouse experience. So you can justify a compression sleeve, even though I personally don't use one. But I can't imagine justifying a gaming glove. I mean, how does that work? It's too random, too inconsistent.
Oh, sorry, I was asleep.
Oh, welcome back, Parker.
What were you saying?
I was talking about compression sleeves
LeBron
and
James.
how they could potentially actually be justifiable depending on the type of player you are.
Shall we turn our eyes to what's in front of us?
Impact tricking on the kitchen drop. It's J90, and he'll actually get 2 sets of Excaros. But Gonfi doesn't care. He's got the third, and he knows to expect that impact tricking. Now the drop is open. Mission accomplished for the Sonics.
So they've opened it up, and as you can see from the lineup of the Sonics, they have another hard breacher in easily, but he doesn't have any of the Selmas left. So Ace is not going to be able to open anything up at all. The hatches, though, all 3 of which have been opened. That Triforce. Am I allowed to say that? Is that copyrighted? The Triforce.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Well, the
Production's going to have to pay for that one. Oh, well,
trifecta?
not me. No, the Trifecta is the
Flawless
cycle. So.
cycle, yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, there's a push from the Sonics that needs to happen here now with 90 seconds left. They've got the hatches open and they have to figure out where they want to engage from. They're droning quite heavily and they've got somebody also over by blue. So for Retro, he's going to need as big a round as he just had. And obviously we saw how good he can be. All of DG hitting their shots so far. This is a risky spot for Easily to be in now as he's doing the worm on his belly inside of kitchen, trying to play an angle over by dummies. We know somebody's playing over there, but they're not giving themselves up at all. It's Shuttle. Shuttle and Easily, once teammates on Rogue. A single member from SQ will try to work through the escape tunnel, but there will be no escape as they meet their fate at the hands of the Alda. J90 punishing Iconic. The opening picks so far, all but a single round have gone in DG's favor. That is a stunning statistic. Absolutely unbelievable. 9 opening duels for DG, 1 for the Sonics. Michael, only 35 seconds left to put this one away. Down goes Sleben now, and the fighting will begin.
And end as quickly as it begun. Gonfi and Easily in the 2v4 as J90 gets downed. Second for Easily, but now he's going to have to ace clutch from Dirt Tunnel. No, sir. Not going to happen. He'll secure his kill and pad his stats. But that's all she wrote, as he's got 10 seconds to find 3 frags. He's 1 in dirt, and, well, actually it was blue, but NJR is going to get the final kill. DG will take map number 2, and we will head to Cafe for our decider.
Well, that's quite the performance and quite the statement from Disrupt. You can obviously see they're pretty pleased with that one. Mr. Shuttle himself in the forefront of that lineup of Disrupt gamers. That is just a brutally swift game for DG. Like we said, it could have been a 7-1 depending on the way those first 2 rounds broke. Opening duels 9-1 in favor of Disrupt. A flawless round for DG. And after those 2 clutches, both of which can break the spirit of a team, DG only dropped a single round after that. That's about as impressive a rally as you're going to find. Good reason for the SQ team to not play Clubhouse, but Cafe is going to be our ultimate decider. We got a break ready for you. Sit tight. We'll be back with our final map of this matchup.
All right, welcome back to the stream, and don't call it a comeback. Disrupt Gaming is such a stylish way. We're able to come back on Clubhouse. You know, the analyst desk, we've said it before the map even started. This could be Disrupt Gaming's map, and they proved it right. Flawless on defense. Their attacks were good. They were able to split. But Caliber, Jacob, and Jesse, go ahead and break down the game while we watch these highlights.
There's a damn good reason for why Disrupt wanted to go to Clubhouse. A map that they'd only won against the same team twice coming into this game, and they blow everyone's socks away, especially with a perfect half on defense. They didn't even have to play an entire half before they were able to win things out. A 3-3 scoreline at the half. And all DG has to do is hold down on 4 consecutive sites, and that's the end of the game. They did a flawless job at the very back end of this map.
Yeah, all they've got to do is hold down 4 consecutive sites. You make it sound so easy, Jacob, but this was really impressive.
I try.
Really well done from Disrupt. And, you know, you got to give them credit. Their Clubhouse play has been fantastic all throughout, you know, the NAL, I would argue. Obviously, today things popped off and really, you know, the players did step up. This is the last round you're seeing now, and really just an impressive map for DG. They said it ahead of time, don't take DG to Clubhouse, and look what happens.
Wow, take a look at the stats. Okay, Golfy 1-10 was not something I expected to see at all this weekend, but it definitely happened. Disrupt Gaming did a fantastic job shutting down the European import. But on the flip side of things, J9O stepping up big. J9O, you know, there was a lot on the line with him joining Disrupt Gaming, him being a rookie, but, you know, alongside with Shuttle, NJR, Red Cheryl, and Reed, he topped the leaderboards 12-6. That's pretty impressive. But you know what, Jesse, Disrupt Gaming, they as a team, as a unit, not just one person individually, they work together as a unit to really shut down the Soniqs, and it was quite impressive. You, for one, you were really happy to see what they were doing, especially on attack when they split 3-3.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to talk about their defenses because their defenses were really good, and obviously they were perfect on their defensive half, but I think their pushes, you know, deserve just as much credit if not more. You know, when they were running into site, they were getting a lot of good picks even before they were entering. Their opening kill statistic was brought up during the cast, and I think that was like really did shine through. Whether they're attacking on the gym bedroom bomb site and getting kills there, or whether they're going through the floorboards, attacking on CCTV cache, you know, they did a really good job of securing that pick without Soniqs really getting a good chance to fight back. So opening pick definitely helped them quite a bit on attack.
I couldn't take not a damn thing you said seriously. Okay. Jacob, explain to me, why the shades, man?
You gotta explain to me why you're not wearing yours, Veli. We prepped this before we started.
Heck?
I feel really betrayed right now,
I'm sorry,
dude.
listen, we got to get the shuttle on. This is respect the shuttle, right?
There we go. All right, fine.
There we go. All right, now Jacob, your turn, man. When it comes to this roster, going to Clubhouse, you said was the best decision they could have possibly made, and you actually think this is going to affect the Soniqs' momentum moving to map 3 and beyond.
I think it will, just because, well, here's the weird part. There might not have been a lot of momentum coming off the back end of Coastline. They won it. Good job. Soniqs, you won a map, but the problem is it was such a back and forth contest. It was 7-5, and Clubhouse wasn't nearly as close of an affair because DG were able to sweep an entire half on defense. So if the Soniqs had any momentum coming off of Coastline, it was very negligible. The problem is, we're heading to Cafe. Historically, I'll keep on going back on which team does good on which map because it's such a relevant point. Disrupt have lost this 3 times. They haven't won this once. They don't ban it, but they just don't do that well at it. And the last time they were on it, it was against the Soniqs, and it went almost the entire stretch, and the Soniqs were able to win. I don't know if they can do it nearly as effectively or nearly as fast, though, because they're just coming off a Clubhouse loss, so they might still be a little down in the tank.
Jesse, are you riding high on what Jacob is saying? Is a new guy making sense right now? Because kind of like what he's saying.
No, I mean, he's absolutely right in a lot of his points. You know, this is a map coming up that really does not favor DG in any sense of the word. Cafe is a map that, again, teams high and low in the rankings consistently ban against the Soniqs. When they don't ban, the Soniqs generally win this map. And Disrupt, you know, they've won it 1 time. It was against Tempo Storm, you know, and nothing against Tempo Storm. They're just not a good team. So that's not a great record for DG. I hope they've got some strats. You know, you don't let a map get this far into the ban phase without having a plan for it, without, you know, being ready. And DG are a good team with a great coaching staff. I expect them to be prepared for the Soniqs here. They certainly have the VOD advantage, but it's going to be tough. And I think that Soniqs are going to be favored going to this 3rd map.
All right, so let's talk about the community polls right now. I want you guys to all tune in. A lot of fun stuff is happening on Twitter, but there was a specific question that we wound up asking you, and it's, these 2 clicked heads in stage 2. Who has the highest headshot percentage coming out of this 2nd match? Iconic or NJR? Jacob, who would you vote for?
Out of those 2? You're really forcing me to pick?
You have to pick, Jacob.
Come on, I think it's not that bad.
It's not
I was
that
hyping
hard.
up Iconic quite a lot at the beginning of this series, and I think that's still going to hold true. NJR had a lot of momentum at stage 1 that's kind of tapered off, and the same thing can be said for Iconic, but the man popped off on both of the last maps. He was in the double-digit kill range both times, and even though they weren't able to win Clubhouse, it's still something to be feared. I'm still in the Iconic camp over NJR. I'm sorry, I like them both as players, but you're forcing me to pick, Veli. It's not fun. It's like choosing one of my kids. I don't want to do this ever.
You did all right. So it turns out that I believe NJR won the poll. It was really close. I believe it was 51%. Jesse. Yeah, there you go. NJR won. 51%. Okay. It was that close. But Jesse, so far, everybody in the chat, they've been loving Jacob. He just had a really good segment right there about NJR and Iconic. What are we going to grade him right now? And then talk about what's been happening so far on the screen.
I'm getting rookie hazed here. I don't appreciate it.
I mean, I think Jacob's clearly been right. Look at this headshot percentage. 60% for Iconic, 25% for NJR. The people aren't paying attention.
It is significant we listed it 4 times, just so everyone at home definitely knows, right?
Bow down to your prediction, King. I was right.
So
I mean, he got it.
All right, Jacob,
Absolutely
Jacob,
ridiculous.
real talk. Now, you're the caliber Jacob Curse, right?
Hi.
Yes, all right. So you said Soniqs were going to win 2-0. Right now, it's 1-1 going to tiebreaker. Put your curse away for now. Who do you legitimately think is going to come out on top? This has been exciting, man.
here's the thing about the curse. The curse is always a thing because I call my predictions the way I think it's legitimately going to happen. I don't curse teams on purpose. I never go into a prediction ever thinking, oh, if I say this, maybe the opposite will happen because I hate said team. That's never how this goes down. But right now, we are neck and neck. It's a very, very hard coin to flip, but Sonics have won this twice.
All right.
And one time was against DG, whereas DG haven't won on Cafe. So because it's so close, and because I don't know if DG will be able to capitalize on momentum, it's gonna be Sonics. That's it. I'm sorry.
There we go. Susquehanna Sonics, Caliber Jacob. Let's see what happens from this one. But ladies and gentlemen, turn your eyes to the screen. You're probably watching anyways, who knows? But listen, coming up right now is a tiebreaker map. Kix and Taro, take it away.
Oh, thank you very much. I was actually looking for a pair of sunglasses. I know Kix has them. Would you believe that I don't own them?
You don't have any sunglasses?
I actually don't. I don't own a pair of sunglasses.
I find that shocking.
Michael, did you time travel back to the 60s to get those?
Actually, yeah, I did. These are not from the 60s, but they are vintage. Yeah.
Very cool, very groovy. Very groovy, man.
Yeah.
Very groovy.
I don't remember exactly how old. All I remember is they were handmade a long time ago.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Michael, this match has been hotter than you are. Ooh. And now we're going to be going to Cafe to break this tie. So far, before we get to this map, which team do you think has looked better?
I'd say if we're basing off of map number 2 and 1 combined, slight edge to DG, but only ever so slight. And I think that something that I've praised before, and I will praise again, is the tenacity of the Sonics. They've had a little bit of a break now after that map. They have had a moment to reset. I think that this could break either way. I really don't want to call it, if I'm being honest, Parker. And it stems from the same sense of closeness or similarity between these teams that we had going into the series. The expectation is that it will go to that third map. It is that either team could take it. And I think that's part of what makes this steak so juicy. So I'm just going to wait and see.
Michael, we'll call it a close match.
We'll call
and
it.
And now we'll go into Cafe once again. Chat, help me out here, please. Can we get a GLHF if y'all are ready? There's no Jackie on the broadcast, so the amount of y'alls has dropped to virtually 0, so I feel like I need to get them in.
Aww.
And I can't help but note the humor of a Canadian using the phrase / word. I suppose it's one word, y'all. Let's start off with DG's first ban. It's going to be Ace. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, Ace. Bye-bye, Capitao. You will no longer be played in this series. See what the defensive bans are going to be too. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Wamai or a Jaeger, but it's going to be Whammy. And then that final ban most likely going to be an information operator of some sort, possibly Valkyrie, possibly a Maestro. Yeah, there it is. All right, so you got the Mira still in play. You got the Valkyrie still in play. There'll be a IQ maybe every once in a while. We'll see how this actually pans out. Defense first for Disrupt. They're going to go ahead and set themselves up on the advantageous side for Cafe. The Sonics are the ones in the hot seat, as we like to say, with the pressure on their shoulders to win these early rounds.
Michael, remind me of the stats of Cafe here.
The stats of Cafe globally or for these teams?
I'm thinking more U.S. division.
Okay, we will take a look.
No, Michael, I would like to know the final 3 weeks of BR6 on Cafe.
The final 3 weeks of BR6? I mean, I can get that too. It's got a 55% defense win rate overall. You know, it is the most played map for Stage 2 of the US division, tied with Villa at 10 plays total. So that 55% defensive win rate for Cafe is a fairly reliable statistic. It gives a slight edge, of course, to the defense, but I think it, you know, I think it's well representative of how this map typically plays out.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome, Parker.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing what Iconic could do on Maestro. Disrupt bans Maestro. Unsurprising. He's also really, really strong on this map. No Maestro and no Echo is going to make defending Kitchen a lot more challenging. But Valkyrie is in play, so you can use her to a certain extent. I think the Alda is what's really going to be missing, though, in terms of fighting prowess, if you want to call it that.
I would call it that, yeah. Fighting prowess is a adept way to describe the major characteristics of these teams. Because, I mean, what really makes DG and the Sonics stand apart is their fighting prowess. They are good in a scuffle.
That's, was that Mute? Mute saying he's out of ammo? Yeah. Mute, no more shotgun ammo. Retro, reduced just to the SMG-11. I feel like that's vintage Retro. When he was on the old Beast Coast roster, I'm going to go back. We're going to go way back.
Okay.
When he was on the old Beast Coast roster, he used to expend all of his shotgun ammunition as smoke. Necrox, the same on the old EG roster. And then just use the SMG-11 and nothing else. And he'll be the primary site construction for DG, as they don't have any other shotguns at their disposal, especially after Mozzie lost the Super Shorty. P9, the Roni and the 1.5. That is the wave now, my friend.
It is the wave, yeah. And I gotta say, it's been ever prevalent for both teams. Shuttle is the man holding the gun right now. The time dwindling here, though. The Sonics, what have they really accomplished? Iconic is going to start opening up above. Where is the execution? That's my main question here. Because the soft destruction is definitely going to be major. As that nade fails to get the kill onto Reed, things get a little bit worse for the Sonics. C4 will not land. In fact, no damage done there. A second earlier or a second later, and it probably would have gotten a kill, but not so. Sleben will get shuttle. Reed repositions to where he was originally naded. But look at the time. So little for the Sonics to execute, but they'll start things off with the frag onto Reed. So the control upstairs working out well. The plant spot acquired, and easily will go for it. Cover from above. J90 gets the C4 from below, and that's one of the players trying to cover. And behind, NJR gets finished off by Super. Sonics win all the fights and take the round.
It was gruesome, as easily went to plant in Valkyrie's corpse. Let the diffuser be adorned in the blood of my enemies.
Well, it was. He did plant in a corpse. Yeah. So
he did plant in the corpse. Yes, it was very
planted it
it's
in
like,
his
what
chest.
A front row view.
Yeah.
Of the Valkyrie just ragdolled, mouth agape, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, as easily like, excuse me,
You can-
excuse me, ma'am, pardon me.
You can almost hear Valkyrie scream.
Almost.
You can almost hear Valkyrie ask to see the manager.
Did you hear about how San Francisco passed that one bill that they made an acronym called the Karen Act?
It is now illegal to call 911 based. I think it was
racially motivated calls.
Yeah, basically
as like weaponizing 911 calls, and they named it the Karen Act.
Yeah,
perfect.
They did spell.
There
it
are
with
some glimmers of hope in 2020.
They did spell it with a C though, Parker.
Yeah,
I don't know
with a
why. I think it's supposed to be with a K, but.
Well, yeah, but it's the C. It's an acronym, right?
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. I couldn't help. Of course.
Let's go.
When you said speak to the manager. Of course, there's only one name that popped to mind.
I think
I feel bad for every Karen I meet now, because it's just like you didn't know. You had no idea.
And the wave really did hit them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there is actually a Valkyrie headgear, by the way, that really makes her look kind of Karen-y, but I can't remember. I'd have to launch up. I'm gonna launch up my game. I gotta find it. Because I
not find it.
I'm pretty sure it exists. I just have to see.
Writing haikus, trying to write a song around. Just pay attention. We're a minute into the action now,
what
and
action?
the Sonics take round number 1.
Yeah.
This is a reading defense for Disrupt. They get the opening pick, and NJR almost gets another as he drops from above, but he'll get hunted down, unable to get back to the bomb site, and hot pursuit is none other than Iconic. He's going to leave him. He's going to leave NJR to bleed out, but he gets picked back up, so nothing is lost. Iconic is repositioned.
And I remember a time when Iconic, what a shot from NJR. He reacts perfectly. I was about to hype up Iconic, but I guess it's not going to be this round. The crossfire in the site is working for DG very well. The Sonics being rebuffed everywhere. They try to find an entry.
So I got to keep going.
Just
I guess
not going to happen.
I have no choice. I'm all alone here for the final 1 minute and 22 seconds. Please join
start
me.
Scraping something away from DG.
Explosive end to Gavi by Shuttle in a 1v5. A very anticlimactic.
The ideal thing. The C4 from Shuttle lands the kill. And now it's all easily with a sliver of HP. Well, okay, 25 HP. Against the entire DG. Flawless round for Shuttle and Disrupt as a whole.
Happening. All right. Well, you just got me now. I'm sorry. The Siege GG Caster of the Year 2019/2020 Esports Awards nominated color commentator of the year. His VoIP crashed. Pour one out for Kickstarter. You've just got me. I'm so sorry that you have. I'm like the consolation prize for everybody here. He's back!
I mean, but you couldn't.
I know, but it was funny because the same thing happened in the EU League, by the way, where Geo and Dev just casted over top of each other.
Oh, yeah?
Simultaneous casting.
So, for those of you who don't know, we use different audio channels for different things, where you guys are hearing me direct through one audio channel. Parker is hearing me through a totally separate channel. So, sometimes one of those channels will crash and the other one won't. So, that's what happened there if it got confusing.
Yeah, but it's probably going to be very funny to go back and rewatch.
Were you casting the whole round too?
Yeah, because you just stopped talking, so I was like, kicks?
So we both.
Well, I guess I've got a cast, then after talking for about 7 seconds, production's like, he's still talking, you're both talking.
That was funny. Oh!
I have not heard such panic in all my years.
Apparently production muted you, Parker.
Did they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's for the better of the entire broadcast. They can just...
Oh, no.
Just wanted to let you guys know that when Blue and Stokes come on, you can use that same power against Stokes. Nobody will be upset.
By the way, I found the headgear. It was the War Photographer 72 Elite skin. Yeah, her elite.
Oh my god.
Her elite skin makes her look like a Karen.
Okay. All right. Disrupt won that round, by the way, in impressive fashion. Now, you were talking through all of it.
Yeah.
So break it down for us now as we're a minute into this mess of a third round.
Want me to break it down Barney style? Some people will get that reference. I guarantee you at least one person.
Just talk.
Okay, so the mirror window setup. Can I do this round? Because we're kind of into it.
But yeah, you can do this.
Okay. The mirror window setup is kind of an old-fashioned one. This was popularized a long time ago by French teams in, like, what? Like, the season mirror came out. I don't even remember, so long ago. Years ago. In ancient times. And this setup is very powerful if you use a decent gun on it, like the carbine that NJR wields. It's going to allow you to control piano all the way back deep in sight. That's the goal here for DG, and it seems like it's delaying the push from Sonics quite a lot. Sonics are struggling very much to find openings.
Certainly appears to be the case. There goes a grenade, and it's swiftly traded off. So Iconic, he wagers a little bit too much, easily going for the plant. Nobody seemingly watching. Retro's looking one way. He secures onto Sleben, but it's not enough. The question is, this post plant for the Sonics was not the strongest on Coastline. Will they be able to shore up their defense of this diffuser, as they are now the ones on defense? J90 has the beat on Super on Repel, but can't hit his shots that are needed. He can on Easily. What a flick, as Easily had taken Shuttle out of play. NJR will try to return to the bomb site. He gets hit by an air jab that he wasn't aware of, finished off from above by Super, who's off of the windows. It's J90 alone, but he can't do much. He turns and punished by Gomfy. It turns out the answer is yes. They can shore up their weaknesses. The Sonics answer back on what so far has been a seesaw of a map. It's 2-1 for SQ.
That's a fairly strong score line, even though those 2 rounds did look fairly desperate. I'm fairly certain that I'm using the word fairly too frequently. Let's go ahead and think about that for a second. Sonic mostly pivoted around the standard double drop execution. The skylight was a major boon, though. The plant is the key. The fact that Disrupt did not deny that plant from going down is crucial to the outcome, obviously. Post plant on that site, nearly impossible if the attack has control of the skylight still, and you saw why that is such an impossibility, or, well, improbability, rather. So, well done to the Sonics in getting the plant down. I'm really puzzled as to how DG allowed that to happen. I do recognize that Sonics did a great job of distracting the anchors on DG, but at the same time, still, the objective is paramount. And I have to respect Sonics' focus solely on that objective, as it has, thus far through this series, been kind of undervalued by both teams. So, we'll see if Disrupt starts to pay more attention to that moving forward, as it will cost them rounds should they not.
It's a nail biter so far, but the Sonics picking up 2 of the first 3 rounds while they're on attack. Statistically quite strong for them. And I think this one is going to be a real shootout. I imagine that we're going to go down to the wire as we saw on Coastline. It could end up with the only definitive win being for DG on, well, map number 2 on Clubhouse, because I don't know if either team have what it takes to be able to significantly outpace another, at least not through those 3 rounds. They have come blow to blow. This is a kitchen defense downstairs. It's where the Sonics first started their assault on this map, the first defense for Disrupt. Some changes have been made in the setup, most recently by DG, as they are assuming SQ's take will come from the east side of the map. As had been discussed, there's really 2 paths to victory here for the attackers. You either pressure Freezer or you pressure the front of Bakery. Typically, teams are not going to reposition to Bakery when there's only a minute left. That work and investment usually comes very early on, whether it be on the prep wall or the Bakery wall. The Sonics are all upstairs on that second floor, and they're going to chip away at the defensive structure over by the B-bomb, which is the Freezer angle. Nitro Cell expended, I would say wasted, as it goes off without a target in sight inside of Train. The Sonics will begin their attack of this bomb site over inside of Dining. You'll see more and more of that ceiling above DG get smashed to pieces.
Yo, did you see the start of that feed?
No.
That was people getting banned for using DOS. Or DDoSing.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah. Even better, man. Juicy bans lately. I love it. Again, I haven't really been encountering many cheaters in ranked lately. It's nice. It's a good feeling. DG, only a minute left to persevere. And they'll take it if they do. J90 gets Easily, so that's a great start to the action, but Super will get NJR on the whiskey bar, so a trade back. And look at this, once again, the plant's going down, but this time it's stopped on a long angle from Shuttle. That's huge. Diffuser down, 30 seconds for the Sonics to retrieve it, but another kill comes out for Shuttle, this time through the holes that were opened up by the attack. There's a third, and J90 gets his second. DG will stalwartly defend the bottom floor.
Resolute, you could say.
Resolutely, sure, yeah.
It was very resolute. Formidable defense, all the same, once again, back and forth, back and forth. And we are again at a stalemate here, as I assume we are going to continue to see onward and upward. Reading is on the docket. for Disrupt. This is the first bomb site that they won on defense, and they did so relatively safely and securely. It was the one that I told you to break down when we were inadvertently casting over top of one another.
Stop.
What did you say?
What? I didn't say anything.
I can hear you.
No, you can't.
Oh,
Yeah. That was
my apologies.
that was an echo in your room.
Oh. Got it. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, no problem. I got you. Should probably get that fixed. What's so funny?
There is no echo here. Michael, echo is banned.
I mean, yo, can we talk about that echo ban for a second? Because that's actually
Technically not a ban, removed from competitive play.
it's changed the landscape of the meta.
It absolutely has. I mean, it is still a utility soak meta. Look at that. 2 deployable shields. Jaeger will have 3 ADSs. Obviously, Wamai is banned and Maestro is banned, so you don't have to worry about those gadgets. But please discuss.
Oh, I was just gonna mention how typically you see the Valkyrie band, and then you don't need to see the IQ played, and that's a stark contrast to the meta we had about a year ago at this point, a year and a half ago or something like that, where IQ is one of the most prevalent operators on attack because of, you know, you'll always see the Echo, you'll always see the Valkyrie, and people weren't banning them because it's better just to, okay, accept it and play around it. Sometimes they would get banned, but it was more dynamic. And now we're in this rigid meta that hinges primarily around deployable shields, Malusis, Evil Eyes, explosives, stuns, etc., etc. It's all about the burn. It's all about the soft destruction. It's all about how many things the defense can bring to slow you down, and it's created this kind of rigid atmosphere with the meta, and I just think it's just neat how the Echo ban plays into that. Well, not ban, the Echo thing, but he's not played.
I get what you're saying. I understand.
Yes.
90 seconds burned, and in terms of operator on operator action, okay, well, that was quite an explosion from J90. I was going to say, nothing really happened in terms of engagements. I suppose a nitro cell isn't necessarily an engagement, so to speak, as it can be done from quite a ways away, yet still, first blood drawn for Disrupt. And the for DG, rather, it will continue onwards. Easily is waiting for somebody on DG to make a small mistake, as Retro now doing double duty, SMG out, shotgun out. Don't know if he can hear this swing in. He manages to get off the toxic canister in time, but Sleben finds the kill that he was looking for. The stun's timed effectively. This will force DG back into the bomb site down below. No offsite real pressure available for them. Shuttle will do calling from deep inside of reading. J90 hunkering down by white stairs. He's limited ammo on the shotgun, so he's going to want to take engagements from farther away. Easily knows that if a nitro cell gets tossed out, there's not much he can do, but there's none available. I don't know if this is something that is known to SQ, with both Shuttle and J90 expending those nitro cells. Easily, if he goes to stick the plant, we'll have to worry about somebody swinging onto him. The coverage from above is in Sleben's hands, and Easily with a tiny bit of HP is still good enough to take down Shuttle. He'll go for the objective play while the Sonics look to box out the players from DG. A one tap from Reed, and he just needs to hide. He and NJR playing keep away. Sleben with a second left on the clock goes for the plant. Super dusted. Sleben extremely vulnerable, and he hops off the defuse to give Disrupt the round.
What a play there for Disrupt. And the trend that I am noticing most for this series continues, and that trend is this: Disrupt are more assertive and aware of what their objective is through the round, whether it be on attack or defense. That is the thing that I keep noticing here. There's such an edge to the way that Disrupt is playing, and I think that it's just represented by a, how do I put this, an assurity of positioning, an awareness of the objective. Whatever it is, I don't know why. Disrupt just seems to know what they're doing more often than not, and the Sonics seem to be operating based on reaction more than anything else. And that's odd. It's really odd to me. These teams are so close to each other, and yet the feeling is that they are so far away. The scoreline is 3-2, but I could swear it's 5-0 right now. And that is a weird sensation. Now, having said that, Disrupt does have the advantageous side right now. And if they don't end this 4-2, Sonics are looking good to take this series on Cafe. So please don't take what I'm saying as me, oh, just, yeah, Disrupt are going to win. Far from that. It just, there is such a weird sensation going on with Disrupt's playstyle where they feel in control.
It's pretty bold of you to just come right out and say that Disrupt is going to win.
Yeah, Parker, that's what I said.
Well, you said it should be 5-0 for DG. That's what I took from it.
Ah, yeah. Clearly, I am a biased caster, and clearly I just believe that DG is just a better team. Is that what you're trying to say, Parker?
Somebody clip that and don't put any context behind it.
Did you
Thanks.
see the? Did you see that one? There was an out of context something about. I think it was Shroud. He was like, he's trying to install like a new graphics card or something, and somebody took it out of context and said like put it in the context of relation. It was terrible. It was hilarious.
There's a great clip from The Simpsons involving Tom Clancy, actually, where they call Tom Clancy for a quote on a book or something, and he says something to the effect of, "Would I ever say that this book was garbage and the writing was infantile, etc., blah, blah, blah? No, I would never say that." And then there's a pause, and he goes, "What do you mean I just said that?" So I hope for the people that watch old Simpsons, they are able to understand that. Anyway, this is, I do agree with you. Disrupt, in terms of momentum in the game and in terms of feeling, it definitely seems like Disrupt, through this entire matchup, have been the superior team. But right now, they are getting collapsed upon by Gomfy, who does what Gomfy does best. Picks off Reed and Shuttle. Easily dropped and Diffuser down too, which NJR will sit on top of. But he's in a precarious position. And there was an air jab that I don't think he was aware of as he tries to get away and manages to take out Gomfy in the process. He and the Malusi of J90 will just get away as quickly as they can. Punished from above, though, by Iconic as he's caught and ensnared down below. Still into a 3v2 that becomes a 2v2 as J90 cannot be stopped. He was with NJR and he avenges his teammate. That leaves Super and Iconic to work together above. That's not where the bomb site is. 45 seconds left for them to try to get down into a mining/dining defense. With Retro and J90 holding on as best as they can. Retro will need some better aim than that when the adversaries appear as field of view, as he takes out a drone, and now with 30 seconds remaining, the Sonics are beginning to chip away at some of the roof above J90. This is going to be a hold for DG, and, well, no drone work for Iconic. A brazen play as he meets his fate at the hands of the MP5. Super tries his best, but he has no idea where he's getting assaulted from. A single HP, and that's it for Disrupt. They just need to find it. They will. Retro, anticlimactic finish, weirdly paced for SQ. They seem to scramble, and they stumbled. What is Cat Jam? That's a real question. Asking the important ones. What is 4-2? That's the scoreline right now for DG as they'll switch sides.
We jam, Parker. No mods, no ban. Oh, yo, look at that. Look at that kill feed right there. Good riddance.
What was that sound?
I was coughing.
Oh, yeah, happens to me all the time.
Yes, I don't have a cough button.
Yeah.
Now, as I was saying, Disrupt in that round, again, it's that assertive play that we saw there. There were 2 kills that really should not have gone the way of Disrupt, but did, and as such, they win the round. It's mainly hinging around that push upstairs from NJR, the Jaeger. Why? Why does he push that? That's what Sonics have to be thinking. Why? But at the same time he does, you should be ready for it, and you need to check for it. But Sonics didn't. He gets a freebie, he gets away, and yeah, he does get refragged by Iconic, but right after that, your Malusi's getting another kill that Disrupt has no right getting. Then they just walk away with the round, because there's not enough time for Iconic to drone. There's no drones for him to drone with. It's like Disrupt's playstyle is slowly chipping away at the sanity of the Sonics. and it shows.
Oh, wasn't in the interim, while we were waiting to get back into this match, the analysts were talking about how this is a match for their sanity.
Huh?
Was that in the interim or was that on the actual desk?
I don't know.
Jesse, could you pull the numbers on that for me? Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Love you.
Love you, boo boo.
Mwah. So
Regardless, loser of this
irregardless.
match. Loser of this match has to stop.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. The loser has to stop, but they
The
play
loser
another.
has to
they
play
play another
Mirage.
match actually, right
The
after
loser
this.
has to play Mirage.
Yeah, they do have to do that. No stopping.
Right away, by the way.
Yeah, it is awkward, isn't it?
Right away.
I guess that's what happens when you get put into the loser bracket, though.
I mean, there are two schools of thought here. One, you will have obviously significantly less prep time because you have to just exit this game and immediately go for the other game. I get that. But you're also warmed up. We've seen teams play back-to-back and go on these incredible runs, all because they're in the groove. They don't need to cool off. Now, for Mirage, there wasn't much cooling off to be done. So I guess you don't really need to worry about timing here. But for either of these teams, they've had some really strong standout performances, and you don't want somebody like Iconic, somebody like Gompy, somebody like J90, somebody like Shuttle to be able to calm down when they are as aggressive and as accurate as they've been so far.
Production has just uttered into my ear that there will be a break after this one, after this match, just so, you know, the teams have time to cool down and fatigue to settle in.
Okay. That's good.
Yes. And
Maybe get something to eat.
yeah, maybe get something to eat, you know, have a
Something to drink.
big bowl of mac and cheese with bacon in it and jalapenos and breadcrumbs on top.
Why?
You know, give themselves a food coma so that they are...
Michael. 35 seconds left. Disrupt with the advantage right now, and you see grenades getting tossed in, flashes getting tossed in. Poor timing for Easily, who lies in the open, and Shuttle is able to exploit that from above with all of the destruction that the sledge has done. Off-site, waiting for an opportunity to strike is Super. He's going to have a nitro cell in hand. The only plant denial other than toxic canisters, but Iconic is out of them. So he's not going to be able to do much at all if they want to go for the plant. Retro runs on in, and he just gets fed to the machine that is Soniqs, but so does the rest of his team, leaving Reed and Shuttle to do the dirty work. Iconic playing behind this deployable shield. He catches Reed off guard, and time runs out with Soniqs taking the round. Easily the only casualty, and as we have come to expect, this match continues to tighten. 3 rounds in a row for DG, and the Soniqs find their first round in almost 10 minutes.
That was a long stretch. So, what happened there? Well, the Soniqs, patient. And I think that on attack, we saw that very same patience. But of course, that's to your disadvantage on the attack. You need to be able to make assertive plays. You need to be confident in your control. And the Soniqs weren't. Now, that actually is being now reflected onto DG's attack, because while DG had control of the top 2 floors, they effectively cut off the retake from those staircases. They were opening up from above. They even got a pick through the holes that they opened above onto Easily. That was big. Even though all of that, Disrupt still were not able to win when they thrust themselves onto the actual defensive setup, because the Soniqs were extended. It was a horizontal roam. They're holding in VIP. They're not going to let you drop through the freezer drop. They're not going to let you push down the stairs willy-nilly. The Soniqs had firm control of their floor, even though they were being opened up on from above. And that's an easy shot call there for Kevin. Or, sorry, for Easily. That's an easy, oh yeah, they're going to do a full clear. Extend. And it works out great for the Soniqs. So, yeah, DG needs to be a little bit more authoritative when it comes to off-site presence. Even though they cleared out the top 2 floors, they still had plenty of time when they hit that roam that was horizontal. They could have put more into it and cleared out the VIP hold. They could have done that. But there was a little bit of lethargy there, and the attack, they suffered for it.
So things seem to be back to normal on Cafe, a defender-sided map. The defense are doing well. Attackers are taking too long to wade through the mucky muck. The attackers high above the mucky muck.
Mucky Muck? Sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah, there's a Pokemon called Muck, Michael. That's why it sounds like a Pokemon.
Does it go Mucky Muck? Does it say that? Mucky Muck.
All right. This is a very routine defense as of late. One, because Warden now has a 1.5 scope on his MPX, but additionally, because there is a deployable shield at his disposal. Also, Warden does sort of play into this utility dump that attackers need to do to counter the sheer amount of bulletproof gadgets and ADSs and magnets and everything that's going to be available for the defenders. Now, this obviously depends on what the operator bans are. Maestro and Wamai both being banned means that there's less work for the attackers to do. It does free up those grenades and flashbangs to a certain extent. Warden can see through those. He can see through smokes. Why does...
What?
Does he look weird for you as well, or...
Does who?
Warden looked like he was hyperspeed.
I did not see it, but he did get a kill on a shuttle.
He did, yeah. He picked off Shuttle, once again proving that this Warden play is quite as common as it is for good reason. And Sleben will continue to patrol from this angle. DG, on their entry, not super successful. They've now lost their first two players to try to make it into the building, thus knocking them on their heels for the final 40 seconds. This is where things are going to begin to get a little bit tough. I heard one of those gas canisters go off from Super, and that's well timed. You're looking at about 16 seconds of coverage for those gas canisters and how long they plume. And continued to be well timed, though that was maybe a little bit early. Sleben with 2 kills from above, still watching that diffuser, waiting ever so patiently for yet another to go over and retrieve it. Reed's only got 20 seconds left. He's going to camp it out. This is a technical timeout. These teams will be tied up now as the clock will eventually run out, and Disrupt will not give a single moment to any of the members of SQ. It will technically be a flawless round from the Sonics as they didn't suffer any losses, but the score won't show it. DG will take that time to try and figure things out moving forward, as now the Sonics are starting their own defensive run.
For those of you new to CG Sports, while we don't have carryover like some other FPS esports in terms of economy or anything like that, it's sometimes prudent when you know you're not going to be able to win a round to simply sit back and let your team have that extra 15 to 30 seconds to talk over what to do in the next round. That's exactly what we saw just there from DG. And I think that's especially smart in this circumstance because we are seeing DG start to lose control of a map that they were in confident control of not 2 rounds prior. That's really troublesome. Now, of course, this partially stems from the fact that DG is now on attack, and Sonic's defense has looked really solid. A big part of that, again, is the patience we're seeing from Sonics. I mentioned this earlier. Sometimes patience can work for you on attack, though not often, and it's definitely going to work for you on defense. So Sonics, their playstyle is being catered to here, and you can see them start to slowly come alive as these rounds continue to play out. So, I mean, I'm happy for the Sonics because I think that they're finally starting to catch their groove, and DG need to be careful not to let this spiral out of control. We're going to a top floor defense now. All the right tools being brought from the Sonics. A castle, a Goyo, a Jaeger, yet since Wamai is banned, no Wamai. They're just trying to burn away at that utility as much as possible to make the lives of DG as, well, slow as possible.
Slow, uncomfortable, etc.
Yeah, I mean, without the Wamai, it's a little bit more difficult, but that's why you bring the Goyo. That's why you bring the castle. Just more layers.
Almost like an onion.
Yeah, you got to peel away
Or a cake.
at those layers to really know what you're dealing with.
I'm kind of surprised with what we saw of just the Warden above. Let's just focus on that from the previous round.
Sure.
The way that the Warden was deployed up top was standard. Very, very bog standard.
Yeah.
1 panel reinforced in bathroom, deployable shield in front, playing off of the rotate that was to the right, and a clear line of sight through the soft destruction in front. And yet, DG, for whatever particular reason, struggled mightily with that position. Now, don't get me wrong, lots of teams struggle with it, and Sleben's going to be playing in the same spot, just on a different operator here, same setup, Goyo shield by pixel, deployable shield in bathroom, single panel reinforcement, wall opened up. But you got to know how to take care of it. If DG struggles on the same spot yet again, it can pose a significant issue, especially since the bomb site is Cocktail. You absolutely need to take control of that part of the map, because it allows the defenders to hold on to that back bar if you don't. What is going well in favor of DG is that they've got that opening duel in their favor. They've managed to remove Gomfi from action. So you've got the leadoff pick. It's a castle. In terms of influence, the castle barricades are all going to be down, presumably using those proximity alarms. So it was just a gun, essentially, that you took care of. But Retro dives right in. All right. DG decides to take command of the site, and it's SQ who are going to have to fight back. Another kill from Reed here as Sleben takes out Reed, but then gets dusted by the repel play, leaving Super in a 1v3 with the diffuser going down in favor of DG. He's punished from a long angle by Retro, and DG finally managed to win on attack. It took 3 rounds and a very, very brazen play, but they still do it. Anyway.
What a play indeed from Retro. A skylight drop, and it's not only him. Obviously, we all saw the East take coming out. It's a repel on the balcony sort of strategy. Usually you'll see the attack clear underneath and reading and try to open up from below to make the Cocktail anchors suffer. But not so in this round. In this round, DG just perch up on repel and drop from the skylight. I gotta say, I'm impressed that it worked, and that's huge. I was actually, at the beginning of that round, after the Sonics got the leadoff kill, I was about to start talking about how, you know, this is dangerous for Disrupt. Sonics are starting to build momentum. They're starting to look more and more confident as these rounds go by. But after that one, Disrupt proved yet again that they've got what it takes to bounce back no matter how hard it looks for them at the moment. I didn't think that Disrupt was going to be able to take that one. It looked like they were missing out on key components of their attack, but Disrupt keep doing this, and it keeps working for them. They went for the no way that works play, and it worked.
Pretty incredible. I was looking at the way that they were trying to execute. Obviously, from our perspective, we didn't expect a skylight hot drop. It wasn't on our radar. We were so focused over on piano, over on cigar, over on bathroom. And it certainly looked like DG was having troubles with the same defensive setup that had been presented to them on the round before. They obviously realize, hey, the Sonics have 2 players playing well off site. One is inside of the bathroom. That means that there's a single duel that we need to win if we just drop skylight. They drop it. Reed immediately wins it. Could have been the Hibana of Retro. I can't remember exactly who it was that won that very first duel. But after Gomfi was taken care of, you've got your basic math down. 1 member of the Sonics in bathroom, 2 playing off site. One's on white stairs, the other is down below. You've only got a single player playing in Cocktail. You hot drop, you're not going to be able to pivot from bathroom. White stairs can't get there in time. It's a straight 1v1 to Cocktail, especially if you drop New Hatch at the same time. You should be able to isolate that single player and win the fight. It's exactly what DG did. And whether it was the call made by DG or whether it was premeditated, it was still the right thing to do. And it was a large reason as to why they were able to then effectively push into the rest of the site, force the Sonics to retake, and at the same time, DG surrenders 2 of their players for a clean sweep of the site from Sonics.
In this round, the roamers cleared out. Control established above, but once again, the Sonics are roaming horizontally. And this is going to render the soft destruction from above next to useless. Look at this. Easily is the only one in sight on Castle. Just him. He is the only one that will, at any point in this clear from above, be exposed to that vertical pressure. And the Sonics everywhere else are set up and poised to retake their own site and to punish DG as DG attempts to take the site. This is going to be rough when the execution comes out from Disrupt, and I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just well set up and well read by the Sonics.
And we'll see what the Sonics can do with it. As you hit the crucial mark of the round about now. 45 seconds remaining. Common spot for a smoke to play to be able to smoke the drop into Freezer. Comfy, the very first death of this map, or rather of this round on this map. Down he goes at the hands of J90. Super off-site, watching a jump in from the balcony over by mining. See if anybody takes that bait, or if Super will be largely ineffective in that capacity, and whether he will have to head back to the bomb site, as the Sonics will need more reinforcements. Iconic finds Retro, that was played over by VIP. Super falls to Reed, so his offsite play is not strong enough. NJR still here, ready to strike on the bottom of White Stairs. A drop as Iconic gets distracted, playing behind the shield, smited down by NJR, who's now going to try to sprint on in, but shuttle stopped at the last second as Sleben gets in. NJR not quick enough, and the Sonics, once again, back and forth we go. We're all tied up at 5 apiece.
I mean, that plays out almost exactly as you expect it to. Again, if you have the horizontal roam well established, and it's a vertical clear for the attack on a bottom floor hold, the defense wins 90% of the time, because yeah, the attack is going to open up from above, but what will that really gain them? Are they going to spend all of their time on those holes doing nothing? That's exactly what we saw Disrupt do. So well played there to the Sonics. Even round count now, even though we have this rehost here, we'll return at 5-5, so what does it really matter? That was, I don't know. I am puzzled why DG keep falling themselves, or sort of falling into this hole of vertical clear, horizontal roam, don't address the roamers. It's never going to work for them.
I'm not sure. I mean, attacking on Cafe is challenging enough for teams that aren't the most familiarized with it. Echo, Maestro, and Wamai not being in play, this could be a wrench for either of these teams. The Sonics are now on defense, so they're dealing with the lack of Maestro. While DG is on attack, they're dealing with the lack of Capitao. Capitao obviously featured quite prominently on Clubhouse just on the previous map. It's hard to say if these teams have been thwarted by the operator bans. Maybe they're just not having the most confident game. Maybe the Sonics are still trying to get back into things after Clubhouse. Maybe DG realized that this is a very big map and that they're letting the pressures get to them. We don't know. There's a lot of things that could also be transpiring outside of the server that we're just simply not aware of. We don't get to hear their comms. We don't get to hear how they're talking to each other. We don't know their mental alertness. We don't know how strong they are on this map in particular, in this particular moment. Sometimes you just have one or two players playing poorly as well. That can make a big difference. Sometimes comms just get too crowded. We can just simply look at what's going on inside of the server and inside of the map and try to speculate, but it's never always as accurate as we want it to be because there's factors outside.
Yeah, there certainly are. So far, those I don't know who's making the shot calling, obviously, but Disrupt's going to need to figure out a new way to attack that site. Instead of a vertical clear, maybe a horizontal, maybe come from Bakery, I don't know. But no matter how you look at it, Disrupt have always seemed rather rigid, whether it be on attack or defense. It's something that I think has been pretty obvious through this whole series. Now, the rigidity stems from their strategy, not necessarily from the players themselves. And we've seen a few times the players on Disrupt able to quickly adapt to the situation and win rounds just on fragging prowess. That is a common occurrence here. However, sometimes the wall is insurmountable. We'll see, I guess, how this pans out. It's pretty much, the series is not strayed from being incredibly close throughout the whole thing. So nobody's won yet. Sonics are still in the driver's seat, though, given that they're on defense. And again, I would argue that they're starting to feel their presence a little bit more. They're starting to come into their own. And I'm happy to see that, because for a while there, we were seeing like Sonics look asleep. And I'm glad that that's kind of gone now.
I mean, it also could just be the sides. The Sonics now get to defend.
It's part of it.
DG won 4 rounds on defense, Sonics 2 on attack. So far, 1 round on attack for DG, 3 rounds on defense for the Sonics. It's extremely likely that we see a 4-2 scoreline again, which throws us into overtime.
Yeah.
That's what I would suspect, and I would assume the most smarter people than me, of which there are many, would say the same thing. So prepare ourselves, or if you're a viewer, prepare yourselves for the fact that overtime is, well, probably going to happen.
I am prepared. Thank you.
Oh, are you?
I am prepared.
Okay.
Yes.
I
Are you
still can't
prepared?
believe he's wearing sunglasses indoors.
I think
I think
you know
it's
what?
so cool.
He's been wearing those sunglasses for this entire series too.
Well, I mean, as of right now, it is only 3:05 in Vegas, so it's very much the day.
You know, it's not that bad. It depends on his glasses, right? Like these are
Michael, you don't live in Las Vegas. You're also indoors with bright lights on, and you're not comparable.
right. Of course.
You can't
it's
just like study your glasses. I know what he's. Well, I know what this
I'm
is
trying
like.
to get a frame of reference. Get it?
Frame.
Frame. Yep. Those lenses are polarized. I don't know about his, but you know, it could be very playable actually. It depends on your setup, obviously. It depends on your brightness, but all of that speculation, as we've been saying, can be put to the side. We do have everybody ready in the lobby. We are loading into the match. So as soon as we are certain that the settings are all correct, we'll go ahead and jump right back into the action.
Well, I mean, Michael, it's right here on our screen, so we must
Is
be
it?
quite certain. That would
By
be.
Jove.
Who's Jove?
I actually don't remember what that reference is. I would have guessed you would have known that one.
I do. I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I do know someone named Jove, though. No,
Okay.
not really.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
It's a mining defense.
Yes, it is indeed a mining defense. So they're going to go onto that second floor. For the Sonics right now on defense, they've been successful on kitchen. They went and defended the second floor on round number 8. They went to cocktail on the top floor in round number 9. They dropped that bomb site. They won kitchen again. So the only floor that they've lost on is the top floor, which is going to be defended no matter what. When you are defending that second floor, you're likely going to have somebody positioned over by piano, and then somebody will also likely be over in cocktail, which is where Easily is playing, and that's where he just put down that castle barricade. It wouldn't be uncommon, actually, to see 3 members of the defense play upstairs. Hold on to that map control as best as you can, and just wear down on time. DG have not been confident and have not been comfortable with how they take control upstairs, with the exception of the hot drop that happened on cocktail, but that is likely not to be successful a second time. That tends to be the type of thing where it works once and it's good enough for one round, and sometimes one round is all you need, but it doesn't tend to repeat itself.
You know who does tend to repeat themselves?
Who, Michael?
No one. No one ever has. Doesn't happen.
Okay. Well, right now upstairs, you've got Sleben up there, and he's going to get pressured from the windows over by Heaven. Gomfi is not too far off. The Sonics have made a small change, though, as they're not holding bathroom nor the piano side. With this mirror in play, they have decided instead that cocktail is where they want to live and possibly die. So they'll just sit and wait.
Are you forecasting their demise, Parker?
Well, no, but I mean, they might die.
That's true. That could happen. Well, it hasn't happened so far. NJR and Shuttle have been hurt ever so slightly. About half their HP. Right now, DG very slow on this execution. They know what they want to get done, and they're trying to do it in unison. Castle barricades opened up. Explosives go down the white hallway. Get rid of the shield. There's still a Gomfi here, and there's still gas canisters to delay, though. And as Super gets retro, the first pick lands in the favor of SQ. But it'll bounce right back as Reed eliminates Sleben on the run-out. So 1-for-1, but tons of time wasted upstairs. And the Sonics are certainly the ones benefiting from that. Pre-placed C4, waiting for someone to walk over it. Sure, there's a Valkyrie cam to call that one out. Shuttle's got to be careful as he comes ever closer to that C4, which is currently near under the camera. Shuttle will get one from above. There goes Super. So maybe he was the one with the C4 pre-placed, but more likely it's Iconic. We'll find out in due course.
I was wondering if it was.
Yeah, it could be. With 30 seconds left, though, DG need to execute onto the site. They really don't have much time.
Not at all. I mean, right now, DG have the advantage. If Easily is too distracted from above, this could be painful for him. He takes down Shuttle, waits for a hop-in over by Engine. There it is. But he can't connect the way he wants to. Thank goodness for the smoke from Gomfy as it finishes off what Easily had started. There's NJR to pounce onto Iconic, but no time left. Gomfy hits the deck and easily finishes off Reed. Michael, it was my favorite round because the winner goes to match point, and it's the Sonics to do just that. They are 1 round away from a date with Space Station.
Was it the penultimate round, Parker?
Yes.
Good. I'm happy that you got what you wanted.
Thank you, Michael. So where did that round go wrong before DG?
It went wrong at the beginning. So they spent far too much time clearing out the top floor. I think that was a major issue. I did more than half the round, I want to say. And then even once they did have the top floor cleared out, that vertical destruction that we saw from Shuttle, while it didn't net 1 kill, really wasn't enough. I think we've been seeing this. This is such a... Both teams, when they get the top floor control, don't seem to do nearly enough with it. Not enough to justify the time investment and the manpower investment, as well as utility investment that it commands. And by it, I mean top floor control. And when the collapse came downstairs, ultimately it's more of the same, Parker. It's more of the attackers trying to hit the site, but finding out they can't even get to the site because they haven't cleared out the horizontal roamers. Because they've been spending all their time upstairs trying to open up from above the site where there is nobody.
10 seconds left.
It's been some weird attacks, Parker.
Seconds left before insertion.
And good defenses from Sonics.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
I think the one thing that we can walk away with is that if you look back at map 1, goes 12 rounds. Map 2, far more lopsided, 7-3. DG was undisputably the better team on Clubhouse. We've gone all the rounds here now, overtime. I'm gonna say it's probably less likely now. Only because DG won a single round because of a good read. It was a good read to drop Skylight, but it was a bit of a cheesy strategy. And I mean, it is possible for cheesy strategies to go awry very quickly. It was a gamble, paid off. But I gotta say, the Sonics on defense, poised, well-structured, hitting their shots, all things working in their favor. And the scoreboard obviously doesn't show that because we did just have a rehost, so you'll have to wait the statistics that will be released after this matchup is done. The loser will get a small reprieve before squaring off against the best team in the Canada division, which is Mirage. They were demolished at the hands of Space Station earlier today. I can't imagine either of these teams will be happy about having to play another match today, nor against another team of this caliber, but regardless, they will be prepared for it anyway.
Utility being used from both squads. Nades, gas canisters. Delay work going on here for the Sonics. Attempts at picks here for DG. They need to collapse on these roamers before they get away, and they will. Easily goes down first by pallets. Slebin playing on the drop, which is reinforced. He'll also be someone in line to die, and he'll be right after his teammates. Oh, geez. The Sonics try to stack up on that top floor hold, and ladies and gentlemen, we've got OT. Gomfy in a 1v5. It is not to be. He gets one. He will not get the second. Disrupt. Keep themselves in this overtime.
All right, so I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I had just said, I don't think it's gonna go to... Okay.
It's okay.
Oh, well.
It's okay.
Okay. So, overtime, it is Sonics on defense twice. That's how things go. That obviously the favorable side, and that is obviously good for the Sonics fans. This one is going to come down to the absolute wire. So I guess it wasn't the penultimate round. This could be the penultimate round.
I mean, it can shift, it can move, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this could be the penultimate round.
Down to kitchen, they will go. There's a perfect win rate on this bomb site on defense for the Sonics. Sonics also won kitchen once on attack. DG won it the other time on defense. So quite a defender-sided bomb site. And with the record that SQ has and the way that DG tried to take it both times, DG's assault came on the east side of the map. Pressuring into freezer, it proved to be unsuccessful both times. Will there be a change? I think with the operator lineup that we see from DG, the answer is no. Retro will likely go for the hatches above. If they are not opened up, that soft destruction and hard destruction might actually be applied on the third floor, depending on the way that the Sonics choose to defend here. But a lack of thermite, a lack of Maverick suggests to me that there will be no bakery take.
So you want me to tell you, the Sonics are going to defend this with a slight vertical roam to delay, just to force DG to clear above, and then primarily centered around a horizontal roam in VIP. They're putting more effort into the vertical than I've seen them do before. So you can see that they're trying to upset the DG attack. They're trying to do something a little bit different. But ultimately, in the end, it's just going to be the Sonics falling back and trying to peel away seconds. That's their goal here. Just waste time. Time has been the major enemy for Disrupt on these attacks.
Absolutely. And I mean, time has been an enemy because of the setup that we see from the Sonics. It's not just all that Disrupt need to be more aligned, but it's also that the SQ defense has proven to be a little bit too challenging. DG, a lot of confidence here, though. We talked about how they'd wasted time in the past. They dawdled. They're quick. They're much quicker to the punch. Yeah. The Sonics have fortified themselves either in the bomb site or on the peripherals. You see that there's one playing over by coat check, one inside of VIP. Those are going to be pivotal positions and will need to be dislodged by Disrupt, or else you're going to end up with the same fate that DG has had the last two times they attacked this bomb site, which is a certain loss.
It's looking a lot like a certain loss, and I say that because, once again, the attack clears above, but they don't clear around the site. Can we get a top-down of the site real quick? Because I want to explain what I mean. There's only one person. Sorry. There's nobody on site. And why would there be? You're opening above the site. They're just going to retake. We'll see if it works this time. Disrupt get good control of the red hallway. Down goes Slebin. So that initial entry could be the difference maker. We'll find out as we come closer to the end of this round.
Tough to lose Slebin early on, but he wasn't going to be somebody playing inside of the bomb site, so his job to waste time, waste utility, so on and so forth. Well, that's what you want. I don't know if Reed and is that Shuttle are Velcroed together, but it certainly looked that way as they could not separate from one another upstairs. It's a lot of hammers that have been thrown out by Shuttle, and he's actually nearing the limit for the amount of hammers you can go with. Smokes down below to try to conceal a plant as Retro will look to drop. He drops with Reed right next to him. Iconic takes some damage. Shotgun does not work. It fails him, but Gomfi's MPX does. And he manages to pick off two. Diffuser for Retro going down. Gomfi's run is stopped by Shuttle. Super in on the fun. He'll need to pick up easily and will do just that. It's a 2v2. This couldn't get any closer if it tried, but J90 has so much intel from above. Picks off easily. Super in a 1v2. Damage being done, but he can't outduel him. J90 from above. He gets his revenge on Iconics, his former team, and DG on match and series point.
Who would have thought the difference making would be done through control of the bottlenecks and the smoke by the white hallway. Finally, Disrupt figure out this strategy, and bullheadedly, they don't even change their strat. They just know what they need to control. I mean, I gotta give him respect for it. Disrupt made it work. Typically speaking, the way that you're going to try and fix that is you're going to go for an execution from bakery. You're going to try and clear out the roamers horizontally by taking into VIP from the white hallway. That's usually how you confront that kind of a roam, like the one we saw from the Sonics just now. But Disrupt, they bring out the strategy that has been countered every single round again. And the only real difference is that they put more emphasis on cutting off the retake. Great. And those smokes in the white hallway facilitate the drop into Freezer. The way that Freezer was being held was by the VIP presence and that long angle through the wall. So with the smoke in play, the drop comes out, the plant is covered, nobody there to deny anymore. Disrupt managed to take the round, and they do a great job of baiting out the Sonics players who are trying to retake their site, trying to deny that plant. So kudos, but again, so bullheaded.
It was so close. That round was so close.
Yeah, it was. It could have easily dropped in Sonic's favor.
No, easily is on Sonics.
Yes. Yes, he is.
I wonder how long I could have sat there and they would have thought that maybe I was frozen. But who knows? We are waiting to get back into game, by the way. As you could see from the Sonics cam, it certainly appeared like they were still in game, but we are going to need a rehost as we are not capable of getting back in. So you're just going to need to bear with us for a minute here,
What is this,
and then we'll be back in the action.
It's like rehost 5 or 6 today. It's been a...
This is rehost number 5, which is officially more rounds than Mirage got.
Why? Poor.
Also
poor
more
Mirage.
kills than Flynn got.
Ooh. And he's back to being a caster. Welcome back, buddy. We'll see if he gets more
Flynn
kills.
and I, by the way, are not friends. Everything I say is designed to be as rude to him as possible.
Yeah, he's just trying to be hurtful.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
Is it? Well, I mean, they have another match today against whoever loses this one
They
right
do.
here. So
They
there's
do, yeah.
maybe.
I just wanted to make a funny joke to try to lighten the mood. I actively want to see Mirage succeed, by the way. I think that having a competitive Canada division is a boon, and I want to see Mirage do well. I like the players on the team, and I think that when you have to set expectations for the upcoming matchup, they're going to have their hands full against either Disrupt or the Sonics. Of course, you're going to be going up against one of the global titans in Space Station. And even though Space Station looks like they might have taken a step back over this stage, they are still a good, if not great team, if not the best in the world. So, tough loss for Mirage. Hopefully they are prepared and ready for either of these teams. They've had some time to watch this game unfold. Of the 3 maps that are played, if you are Mirage and you feel comfortable in your clubhouse, maybe taking the Sonics to clubhouse isn't a terrible idea if you end up having to play the Sonics. If you play Disrupt, maybe avoid this map in particular. Maybe you want to ban out Coastliner Cafe. Smarter people on that team will be able to make those decisions, not me. I don't sit in on the board meeting of the Mirage Empire. Michael. With that said, it looks like everything is in working order. We're going to get into Cafe for you, and hopefully we'll have a resolution shortly. If not this round, certainly the next. This could be the penultimate round for all we know. Let's find out. We'll get into game. Disrupt is still going to sit on match point. They're still on overtime, or they're still on series point here in overtime. DG's defense will be on the reading bomb site, which was the only bomb site outside of mining, which they only played mining once. It was the only bomb site that DG went perfect on and played more than one time.
Attackers need to locate.
Didn't work out for Sonics on Kitchen, though, because they were perfect on defending Kitchen and they still lost it all the same.
Boy, this has been a close series, Parker.
This has been, yeah, I mean, a nail biter, I think you could say.
Barn burner. Is that going too far? I go too far.
I mean, I think it's been kind of a barn burner. The only thing that would stop me from calling it a barn burner is that I think a lot of these rounds have been characterized more by mistakes that shouldn't be happening,
Yep, completely agree with you.
rather than characterized by plays that are deserving of acknowledgement.
Yep.
That's what I would say. A number of rounds where it's just like SQ lost because they weren't able to kill two people despite having the drop on them and their aim was bad. Or a couple rounds that were lost because DG were unable to tackle a default setup that every team seems to have no problem with. That kind of thing.
And Parker, tell us how you really feel.
No, I'm just saying that I feel like it was, and teams do that all the time. Doesn't matter. You can be the greatest team in the world and still struggle. There were times when at their height, the G2 Penta team would still sometimes struggle with basic stuff. It happens.
Yeah.
Not every team is on their A game all the time.
I'm messing with you. I completely agree. I think this has been a bit of a weird, messy match so far. I do think that both of these teams have shown, and I've used this word I think a couple times to describe both squads already today. But
Explosive?
No, I was gonna say tenacity or tenacious in this.
Tenacious D.
But that's never
You
mind.
are right. They are both high above the mucky muck.
Yeah, they've been high above the gutter. And
Mucky muck.
they've been high above the mucky muck, and I'm impressed by how both squads are playing. You could see as the pressure starts to mount, the attacks have gotten slower, the defenses have gotten more passive, and both of these teams are starting to just try and relax a little bit more and hope that they'll win off of time. Retro will be the first pick, though. Sleben gets him. Reed does make it out, but with half of his HP burnt away thanks to that nade. DG are worse for wear after that execution on the top floor than the Sonics.
That's teamwork.
Yeah.
You saw the fade away as the hatch beneath the feet of who was it on the team on DG? Was it Reed who got shot away by the hatch getting broken? And
Yeah.
Reed was able to get away.
It was Reed.
Took some damage and looked all but dead on the spot that he was playing on Cocktail as SQ were just dumping in heaps of utility. They've got 40 seconds left to pull this one off and send us to round number 15. And discovery work inside of the bomb site could give them the idea that, hey, we can take it as much as we want it. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Easily walks in. He's going for the plant. How is nobody watching this shuttle on retreat? He comes up on the flank, but Iconic shuts down Reed. Diffuser down. Shuttle can just go right on right now if he wants to. He sees one and he'll finish off easily, still inside of the bomb site. Advantage in favor of the Sonics. NJR watching from above, but this will be tough for him. The moment that Shuttle's going to go onto this defuse, he's going to be punished for it. NJR taken out by Super, and it's Shuttle against the world. A 1v3, 20 seconds remaining. A hail of bullets will greet him, and we've got round 15. A single round to determine who goes on to face Space Station and who faces Mirage.
That stems primarily from the extremely efficient clear on the top floor. The Sonics gave themselves, they bought heaps of time. And with that time, they were able to very, I guess adeptly is the best word, set up their execution onto the default plant there. Most importantly, as you noted, while it was happening, Disrupt had absolutely no tools in a position to stop that plant. And I for one, am not terribly surprised by that. They didn't have any tools because the vertical pressure was effectively used to force the defenders off of a plant denial position. That's how you use a vertical clear. That's why you do it. So that you can cut off the anchors and then exploit that cutoff. Well done to the Sonics. That's a great execution onto reading and a great read of how DG was set up. And I know Reed plays for DG. Now, the Sonics will go to the bottom floor for their final defense. This is a site that has been very, very fair to them. They've lost it one time, and that was the exceptional execution we saw from DG on a vertical take. Technically, that round could have gone either way. So with the 7-7 scoreline, the pressure really being on DG right now because they're on attack, I would venture a guess that Sonics are in a good position here. Especially considering, look at this, they have adjusted their strategy to account for the way that DG typically executes. There's a Melusi in the freezer. There's a castle barricade on both the door and the window. Sonics expect this to be a freezer take, and it has been every time.
It's very wisely called. I mean, the other thing too was the differences that were done by DG on the previous freezer take. You can see the lineup right now present from Disrupt. It's the same lineup that they brought out in round number 13. The lineup that worked, the lineup that was able to stop this unbeaten defensive streak of this bomb site by the Sonics. So Disrupt, I think on face, have it right. The problem is that there's been some minor tweaks for them, or against them rather, from the Sonics. That wall in the freezer has been castled off, so you're going to need to signal that you're coming through in that direction. Some soft destruction, if you still have some available, will need to be used there. You've got an Ashe and a Zofia who will be the two operators to tussle with that. Additionally, the Sonics will be prepared for it, and I imagine Iconic has an avenue to be able to smoke that off with that hole that's been made larger to the single reinforcement.
Once again, Disrupt go for the full vertical, and they're likely to end on the freezer take. This time, the freezer is well defended by the Sonics. They stacked all their utility by it. So the Sonics have, for the possibly last time, set up their strategy specifically to counter their opponent. It is something that the Sonics have been doing a lot of in this series. We'll see if it gets them the win. The utility has been effectively peeled away by Disrupt. So in the end, this is probably going to come down to the raw gun skill of both teams. Now,
there goes the doorway into the default bomb site. It also looks like the freezer window has been taken care of as well. And there's the time for Iconic to huck out that first gas canister. Not the best timing, though, for him if you look at it, because he's going to have to blanket that part of the map with 40 seconds remaining. But there's a bit of a pause as DG takes their foot off the gas, but for a second. Still above, Shuttle's got a couple swings left of that hammer to try and determine the location of the defenders playing down below, but so far they've come up completely empty-handed. Not able to determine where those defenders are means that you're going to be rushing into the bomb site at a perfect 5v5, and with utility still on the side of the defenders, you've got to imagine that they're in a good spot. Smoke goes off, and Iconic's not going to see anything. He gets flashed as well, easily starts off the fun. He punishes Retro, finds a second on to Reed as the Sonics have a 5v3. Iconic in on the action too. Shuttle has to fall off the plant. He claps to immediately, but can't do much else. Diffuser drops, and that's it with J90 above. The Sonics will have the last laugh against their former teammate. They're going on to play Space Station.
Well done to the Sonics, winning out, adjusting their strategy ever so slightly to the expected execution from Disrupt. And Disrupt, in typical fashion, executed the same way again and again and again. Slight deviation, to be sure, and I'm not saying that Disrupt are not adapting to their opponent, but in the end, really, they're just giving us the same... They are letting the Sonics read them. And I think that's the major difference maker, and I think that's why Sonics won that.
4 kills for Shuttle, an impressive round, an impressive series for both him and J90. The future for DG appears to be quite bright. There's a lot of depth on that team. We're going to see Disrupt against Mirage later on today when both teams are fully prepped. We got some smart analysts, and they're going to go through exactly what happened. So we're going to toss them over to you. Kix and I are done for the day. You got Blue and Stokes up to cast the last match. We'll throw to the desk.
Kix and Parker, we're going to miss you. Great casting, by the way. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a team that moves on. It's going to be the Sonics. Now, unfortunate for Disrupt Gaming, they will now find their way in the loser's bracket. And they're going to face off against Mirage in our very first elimination game. But first things first, gentlemen. Let's talk about what happened on our screens earlier on. How do you feel about this matchup, Jacob?
We really had to bring this one all the way down to the wire, didn't we? As if Clubhouse or Coastline wasn't nearly as dramatic enough earlier in the night, we had to go all the way to Max OT, a territory that the Sonics are also pretty darn familiar with in qualifiers. All the way against Dark Zero, they had to have something, basically the exact same. So Disrupt just weren't able to pull it out in the end. They didn't show enough adaptation to their last matchup when they played on this map only a couple weeks ago. It wasn't very long when Sonics and Disrupt played Cafe, and I didn't see enough from Disrupt that demonstrated they understood what they did wrong on that map.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I mean, I'm happy it was 15 rounds, but ultimately I think there's a lot that both teams could have done to close this one out sooner. The attack, particularly on this kitchen bomb site from Disrupt, were not very good at all, despite the fact that they did win it in round 13. Just, you know, a long one where I think both teams are going to be themselves a little bit more, but, you know, Disrupt probably a little bit more upset than the Soniqs are.
They should definitely be upset, but fellas, the stats going to be coming up soon once they get imported through, but this has been a crazy game so far. And speaking of stats, Jesse, I'm looking at you right now, man. You said both of these teams, they had some of the worst defenses in all of NA, and you noticed something about it. What was that?
Well, I think that both teams had, like, different reasons for being weaker on defense, and I saw a lot of improvement, particularly here on Cafe, you know, when we can compare this to previous Cafe matchups. For the Soniqs, I love that they were not so aggressive, not so throw players at the wall, right? Let's look at those kitchen defenses once again that Disrupt could not crack for the life of them. They weren't crazy aggressive. They weren't players on all three floors. There were people on the bottom floor, and they were holding it down. They had some interesting stuff, like with the castle barricades on the freezer, like door and walls in round 15. I thought that was really fun. You know, they had different ways of holding that bottom bomb site, but they played passive, and they kept, like, holding their ground. We saw that on other bomb sites as well on that second floor. And for Disrupt, it was kind of the opposite. You know, we had some roamers running around and, you know, getting aggressive. There were some pushes that happened when they were defending on the mining bomb site and on the reading bomb site, where you had up top players that were really just making kind of dumb plays, but plays that worked out for DG. So both teams did things that were a little bit different from what we're used to, but I think that worked a lot better.
It did. Now, Jacob, you've been following NA wholeheartedly, like, you've been dedicated, you know, salute to you, shout out to you. You're a student of the game. Now, you notice, talking about Cafe and both of these teams playing each other, you were kind of reminiscent about the last time these two teams met up on the same map. What were some similarities and differences that you saw along the way?
Well, Disrupt have... Sorry, the script for Cafe itself has kind of flipped a little bit. It was a very, very defender-sided map back when it was re-added into the rotation once it was fully reworked, and it was something that everyone just kept on harping on. It was always going to be played the same way over and over again. We'd see like 6-0 defenses, and over time, that meta slowly begins to adapt and begins to change, and Disrupt actually managed to keep a 4-2 half on their defense, but then things start to slip up, and the Soniqs end up winning despite having, I believe, a majority attacking half on their side because they also had an overtime. That goes to show that DG just haven't done a good enough job of stemming the flow. They're not doing a good enough job understanding what the Soniqs are doing and then adapting that to this match. It happened all the way when we played it a couple weeks ago, and it happened again here today. It looked like there were just too many similarities in their overall game plan for attack, and they couldn't adjust rapidly enough.
Now, let's be honest with each other once again, Jacob. This is scary. This is some scary territory that Disrupt Gaming they're currently in now. They're in the losers bracket. They escaped relegation once, but now they're facing it again, this time around in form of a NA major qualifier. This is something you don't want to miss out on. Stats are rolling up on your screen right now, but before we reach to that point, Jesse, you're a numbers guy. I'm looking at Disrupt Gaming. I'm seeing a lot of double-digit kills, but not a victory. What's your takeaway so far?
I mean, again, I think that kind of comes back to this aggressive playstyle that we're seeing get brought out more from DG than what we saw in the past. You know, J90 was sort of the key standout in my mind, one of those players that was on that roam and was getting pretty aggressive, which is, you know, interesting because that wasn't always like his role necessarily. Usually that was more so like NJR. But I like that J90 was stepping up. He obviously had a big game, you know, 15 and 8, excuse me, 5-0 on opening kills is really impressive. That's what sticks out to me a little bit more. But yeah, as you said, like that got them 7 rounds, but that wasn't enough today. So some things still to work on for DG and the team side. They always talk about how their losses are close, and it's close and it's close and it's close. And if you look back at their season, they had a ton of close maps for DG, but they just can't close those out. And at the end of the day, you know, an 8-7 is just as good as a 7-0 as far as the standings are concerned.
It's heartbreaking, right? And speaking about how the standings are concerned, coming back to my last thought before I ask you that question, Jacob, this is the time now. This is the elimination game coming out. You got Disrupt Gaming going against Canada's finest in Mirage right now. What's the expectations heading into this match? Are you excited?
I'm excited, but here's the reason why. Mirage have had way more time to prep for this game than DG had. They're going to be coming hot off of a loss, and an overtime loss like this, 8-7, is something that they're probably going to be kicking themselves for a while. But Mirage have had plenty of time to scout them out and maybe, just maybe, utilize some of the weaknesses from DG's play in this previous series against them. So this might be the opportunity Mirage has to turn things around, and I am all for the underdog story, Valley.
All right, Jesse, I'm gonna get to you when we come back from the break. I know you have a lot to say about you Canadian boys out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. So far, we're not done yet. We have one more game today, and it's going to be the best. Our first elimination game. Whoever loses, they're out for the weekend, and they will not move on tomorrow to fight for their way to get to the NA Majors. So we'll be back after this short break to see the first elimination match between Disrupt Gaming and Mirage.